Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the Man's World podcast, the Man's World show. Thank you for joining us. We're going to talk about a very important topic related to the question of whether a husband or a man should allow or want his significant other, his wife, to work. So we're gonna get right into that. Just a little few logistical things for those who are joining us new. We are the Man's World. We're the Man's World team, hosts, whatever you want to call us. Our content is related to helping men navigate all aspects of life, particularly with marriage, finances, parenting, education, spirituality, anything. Recently, we've been focusing on relationships and marriage because that's a crucial part of becoming a successful man. And we're delving into this topic today. If you have any questions, post them in the chat. If you'd like to come on and say something or ask us something, we'll post. We could post a link for you to do that. Just put in the chat that you want to come on and ask us something, and we'll also put a link to an anonymous form that if you don't want to be known, because some people are have questions about certain things that they may be embarrassed to ask. Uh, so hit the link for the form and go ahead and submit your question, and just we'll talk about it on the show. So with that, I'll let Mubarak start us off with talking about this topic, and we're going to give our views. And please, viewers, chime in the chat. Come on, we want your participation. We want your views, or we want your opinions on the matter.
Okay, so Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. So I actually am going to start off with just a simple question, um, and it's for both of you guys, and then you can take it in whatever direction you please. But uh, the question is, how much? What is the percentage of the money that you earn? Right, your earnings from your employment, your businesses, whatever it is, what is the percentage of that earning would you say that you set aside specifically, exclusively, or that you spend this on yourself only? It doesn't have any direct or indirect um, uh, benefits towards your children or your wife or family or anything. It's just money that you yourself earn and you yourself spend on yourself exclusively. Like even if you save it, you say this is saved, but it's for me and no one else. What percentage of your earnings falls into that category?
I would say that's for me it's very easy. That's close. That's encroaching 0%. If I took my whole entire earnings for the year, it would be very close to 0%.
Again, we do this in real life, so I'm actually going to agree. I wanted to try to jump ahead because I thought Jaffa was going to say something a little wilder, but yeah, I would actually say maybe, if we're being honest, maybe about 1%, maybe, but it's more closer to 0%.
Yeah, I would say for myself, I can honestly say, yeah, it is 0%. Like the only thing that even when I purchase things for myself, and I rarely like eat, like, I mean, even the shirt I'm wearing now, somebody bought it for me. But
I just noticed the shirt.
I was going to comment on the shirt.
Oh shit!
You are a fool.
Hey, listen, it's a movement and it's a mindset. You gotta be there.
I like it. I like
it. Yeah, just know, mark the date down. This is the first. This is the first of many.
Yes.
But yeah, but alhamdulillah, it is zero. Even when I may purchase something, for instance, I might purchase if I purchase a pair of boots or shoes or something, it's like I purchase them because I need them for work. Or if I get certain things, it's always to do my job for the people. So everything there's nothing that I purchase that is exclusively for me. So 100% of my earnings, 100% is directly to the benefit of my wife's children, family, and none of it is ever. And I don't remember even a time where it ever has been exclusively for me. Maybe there was a time before, you know, I ever got married, but that's the thing. So pretty much this is the standard, this is the norm, and this is what is expected from men. If you find a man who's not doing that, and he has a family, and pretty much everything, all of his assets are going towards things that benefit them directly and indirectly, then you find it kind of strange. So I just want to lay that out there as a standard, as something that maybe we don't actually think about, but this is just the fact of the matter. Now, the second thing is, now the topic of the show, right? I don't know if we mentioned that, is about, you know, should you, you know, let your wife work or allow her to work if it's a good idea or whatever. But hopefully by the time we get to the end of this, some things I might say may surprise you, but hopefully it will be clear. So as far as your wife is concerned, and I don't want to like put it specifically on your exact relationships, but as far as in general, your understanding, when you have a wife, what is her role in within the family, or within your structure? You have a woman, a wife who's with you, then her role would be what? Where does she fall into? I'm leaving it a little vague because I don't want to give it away just yet.
Okay.
Like, do you have any like okay, but yeah, you're trying to be vague. So all right, go ahead, Hussein. I'll just go off of you.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to be vague, I guess we'll stay in that lane. I would say to support the husband, and you know, assist assist where she can. You know what I'm saying? Of course, that don't have to be monetarily, but if she can, for instance, you know, and I don't want to get too deep into it or anything like that, because I know you kept it vague, so I want to try to keep it a little bit vague too.
Well, I don't want to lead the witness. I don't want to lead the witnesses. So let me ask another question. What is it that you're paying for? Now we established that you spend 100% of your earnings directly and indirectly for her benefit and the benefit of any of her children. Of course, they're your children too, most likely. But the point is, you're spending 100%. So if you work, most men work between 40 and 50 hours a week, sometimes even more than that, but you're usually going to work about 40 hours a week as a standard. Tying commute time and other stuff, working around the house, you know, you're always on security. You're always on protection duty. You're always on call, basically, to take care of any issues that they have or the kids have. So, but all of your time, basically 100% of your time, is dedicated to their well-being. Why are you doing that? What's the cost? What are you getting out of that engagement? So you're paying 100% of your earnings to them and for them in support, maintenance, security, all that thing. What are you getting out of that? Like, what is the return from that? What is expected from that?
So in my case, like I'm expecting a partner and all the things that entail being a partner, you know, whether that's intimacy, friendship, those things that come with being a partner. And I'm also expecting the person to also be I guess you could say it all falls within being a partner. Being a good partner would be like being a good Muslim, and those sorts of things. That's my expectation. As far as other stuff I get from it, or I would say like if I take my specific situation out of the context, like say I was starting anew, like okay, you're about to go spend 100% on this situation you're about to enter. What do you expect? That's the only thing I would expect. But there's a lot of subsidiary things that fall within that. Like to be a good partner to me, you got to be a good Muslim. To be a good partner to me, you got to be a good communicator. You got to be a smart individual that I can have a conversation with, those types of things. But it all falls on being a good partner. But like in my specific situation, I also get stuff out of that come with that person that person's good at. Like, for instance, my wife's a good cook and homemaker, so I also get that. She's also a good mother, so I also get that. So, but that's kind of like how, if you wanted to boil it down, that would be my answer.
And me personally, I don't like the term partner when dealing with relationships. I think that gets a little wonky for me. You know what I mean? I don't like that term, even though I respect what you said. I personally don't like that term. I would probably, of course, you can go companionship or something like this. We're human beings, so naturally we are attracted to the opposite sex. We want to, for whatever we didn't create ourselves, but we're wired to be attracted to them, and we want companionship. We desire families, and we desire what the woman, a good woman, a quality woman, can bring to a relationship. And for all intents and purposes, we're willing, and we do this regular, everyday, regular, normal, we're willing to commit, I'm going to say 99%, because again, if I go out, I just want a cheeseburger real quick, that's for me. You know what I'm saying? If I go get I want a hairbrush or even a basketball to go play at the gym or something, that would be for me. So if I spend money on these type of things, or even like a game, I understand what you're saying, Mubarak, but for me, it'd probably be somewhere around 99%, even though that's still a wild percentage. But, I'm leaving 1% for me, paying for myself, even though indirectly, if I'm done with the game or something like that, I'll probably give it to my son. So he's still going to benefit. So
exactly.
Yeah, I know.
Basketball, you're gonna play with the basketball. Listen, even
no, I agree.
You could even put food in there, because everything can tie in. But that's not.
Yeah.
I don't want to get down to these little nitty gritty. Even if it's 99% for you, that's fine. But so what I would say is this. This is what I want to, and this is my understanding in all of this. Basically, imagine you are a business owner, right? You're running a business. Maybe you are running a business where a sub shop or whatever, selling sandwiches.
Right.
And you're paying your employees $10 an hour. So when a customer comes in, they make a sandwich, or they make a certain amount of sandwiches and get them ready to sell or whatever. And you have an employee who's at the shop, and they are clocked in, but they spend some time making sandwiches, and they spend other time working an online business, and then they go home and leave. So they're working at your business, but instead of working for you, you're paying them. They're getting paid, but they're working at your place of business on other things, taking the money, not putting it back to the business. It's not actually contributing to your business, and then they're going home and leaving. Is that an acceptable arrangement?
No, it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable.
I mean, if it depends on what your goals are and what you want from that employee. If somehow
I think you want your employee to work the job that you're paying them to do at the facility. I don't think that you want them working some other job, Jaffer.
Yeah, and you want them to do their best job possible, right?
You want them to do the job you're paying them for.
So
the best possible. So, for instance, I'll give you a hypothetical situation, just using that example. Say that same employee that spends, let's just put a time limit on it. He spends 2 hours out of his workday working on his online business, right? Mm-hmm. For whatever reason, maybe he doesn't have internet at home or whatever, right?
So he works. Let's just say they work 8 hours. 25%
they work
of the
8
time.
hours. 2 hours out of that day is spent
25%.
Actually tangibly doesn't go towards his actual job of working at your donut shop, right? Now, there's other things that are involved in when you have employees. So, like, okay, say for instance that 2 hours that he's spending on his home business, right, his own business, is providing him fulfillment, engagement, and also keeping him engaged at your job, right? And now we know the cost of turnover, and he's actually a good employee. And say that fulfillment, say he produces without that side thing that he does on 2 hours of your time, within that 6 hours, he produces 100 donuts an hour. But when you actually let him take 2 hours, right? So if he did 8 hours, he'd do 800 donuts. But then when you let him take 2 hours to do whatever he wants, he's more engaged. He's happy. He actually wants to work harder. And for some reason, he starts producing 200 donuts an hour. So now for that 6 hours, he just produced 1,200 donuts. And you want to fire him because he spent 2 hours doing something that on the surface didn't benefit you. So that's why I say it depends.
If you have an employee that works less but's more productive, then great. However, in just in general, with most people, if they take 25% of the time when they could be productive in doing what you're paying them to do, and they do something else with that time, and it's not contributing to what you overall the business that you're running, most likely that's not going to be a good outcome for you and your business.
That's actually not true.
What? Hold up. Okay, hold up. Let me get this right.
Yep.
So if you're paying a person to work 8 hours to produce, let's just say you need to make 10 sandwiches an hour. So you're expecting 80 sandwiches to be made.
Yep.
This Negro is making 60 sandwiches a day, getting paid full time, but he's happy. He's happy and he's productive or whatever. So you have to then, to the businesses that you're catering to, they want 80 sandwiches. Maybe you have 10 employees. They need 800 sandwiches for this business or whatever. But you're saying, hey, the Negro is happy, and he's feeling fulfilled. Meanwhile, we did not produce the amount that we needed because he wanted to be happy, and he took 25% of his time. Now, of course, you have breaks, and they're actually getting paid what they asked for and what the market, maybe above market.
See?
And the thing is, they're taking the time that they have agreed that I'm going to work for this amount of time and make this amount of sandwiches or whatever. And instead, they're working on another business, taking that money and going on about that business. And you think that's how is that?
You're asking the wrong question. So let me just, all of y'all have worked in, like, you work at a hospital. Hussein, like I don't know what you do now, but have you ever worked for a business or a company, right?
Yeah.
Is it common practice nowadays that these businesses or companies have things that you could take advantage of during work time that actually do not lead to the production of what you were hired to do?
Say that again. Say that question again.
Every business says it. That's
what is the intent of that?
I don't think they intend it. I think most people, like at my job, there's nothing that's set up specifically to take you away from what you're supposed to be doing, but people find ways.
Really?
No.
You don't have lunch?
Lunch is built in. You're actually it's
what
built
is lunch
in.
For?
So you can eat. So you can so that you don't pass out while you're at work.
This is this very simple example. This is just a bump. There's more deeper examples that we can use, but this is the basic example to show that what you're actually saying is wrong, right? You are mandated to take a lunch, right? Why is that built in? So you could be happy.
That ain't why. It ain't so
why?
You can be happy.
Why?
It's because people have to eat. They have a right to eat.
Why?
They had to fight. They had to fight to get a lunch break. It's the law. It's not because they want you to be happy. It's the law. They have to give you a lunch break. And actually, at my job, they actually don't even have to give you a lunch break. They actually just tell you that it's the law that if you have time, they give you a break. But if you don't, they just pay you. They just pay you extra if you don't take your lunch break or if you don't get your lunch break.
But does a lunch break actually lead to employees being more productive?
I don't think so.
I would say
this is why, like, when we talk about these things,
I don't think so.
Like, yes, it does. Lunch breaks, team meetings, all these different things that go on, right? You see all these things that go on, and because it's years and years of tried and practiced management leadership tactics, this is what you want to do to make your employees most happy, most productive.
You see this? You see
well,
what
this
this
is not just peer review. This is actually in practice.
No, yeah, it's in practice, and I'm telling you, I work with people.
But I'll
that
let you
happy.
finish your point. But just to be clear, you could agree with me or not, but it's actually a fact that
what's a
when
fact?
your employees
that people
are happy
because they have lunch. No,
what's
lunch
that?
don't make people happy. Lunch is just it's a standard thing. Listen, if you don't let people listen, if you don't let a person eat, they're either number one going to get weak and pass out or whatever. You're not going to make a person work for 12 hours straight, standing up at a factory or something. You can't do it. People was passing out. People were dying. You know, that's why they put these laws in, not because
people
of
were
happiness.
dying for working 12 hours straight.
People were dying in factories and on assembly lines. They were passing out. They didn't care. Remember in school the Industrial Revolution?
Carry that thought through.
So it's not about happiness.
Extreme example was people were dying.
All right. Hold
now,
on.
did the company realize? Did the company say, "Oh, just because it's the benefit of society, we're going to do this," or did they realize, like, wait, actually, if we give people breaks and give them lunch and give them something that we're saying happy, but actually makes them more fulfilled, actually leads to better productivity?
Got nothing to do with that. They didn't listen. Okay. Employees do not do things. And I'm sorry, businesses and corporations don't do things because they want to make the employees happy. They do it because it has an effect on the bottom line. So if you're happy because of this, great. So it's like this. Let me just say this because we don't want to get too far off. It's just like, do you think that the slave master decided to give the slave a shirt in the wintertime and a shirt in the summertime and threw the chitlins out there or or fed them at all or gave them a little shanty, a little house or whatever because he wanted to make them happy?
No, because it helped his bottom line, like I just said.
Yeah.
And happy employees produce more. There we go. Move on with your point. Go ahead.
Oh my God. Maybe. Maybe they do produce more, but the point is this: for you as the business owner, if you have an employee that's taking 25, 50%, maybe even more of the time in which you are paying them to produce a certain number of goods, services, or whatever, and they are producing less, not producing what you want them to produce, and also in that time they are actually working with the money that you're paying them, working on something else and keeping the money and not contributing it to the goal of the business, which is what they're there for. I don't know how we got off on tangent arguing about this, how this is bad. I mean, it seems because I already know where you're going with this. That a person who is hired to do a job, who then gets the money to do that job, but does a different job and then keeps the money for themselves. I don't understand how we I disagree with about that. I don't.
I know where you're trying to go with it, and I'm trying to point out that your premise is actually wrong. But you can keep going down the road, and it'll just lead to a bigger issue at the end.
It won't. It won't. Okay. I guarantee it won't. But I mean, it might lead to issue for you. But for the common sense, the common man, listen. The peer review.
Common sense ain't common.
Hey, listen, you can do the peer review studies or whatever, where it says, well, technically, if you do this with an employee, if you give them a 15-minute cigarette break, their productivity is going to increase by 17% or whatever. I don't know. That's something else. But I'm telling you that if you are paying a person to do a job and they are actually not doing the job to the standards that are set for just in general to do that job. Listen, we have 100 baskets out in the parking lot that need to be put in. Every hour, 100 customers leave a basket outside. I'm paying you to bring the baskets in and park them back inside so people can use them. And you're being paid for that, but you're only bringing 25 to 30 baskets in every hour. That means the productivity is not there. But it's well, why is it not happening?
That's a different question.
It's the same thing. You're paying a person to do a job, and instead of
What-
doing that job, now,
But go ahead,
hold
go
up,
ahead, go ahead, because I don't want to get too distracted, so you can't get to
now,
your point. Get to your point, and then
now,
we'll
the
talk
point
through
is,
it.
I think, let me just say this. I think what you're trying to say is, if that person is paid to bring those 100 baskets in an hour, and they are actually bringing those 100 baskets in 28 minutes, and they have 32 minutes of extra time, and they do something else at a time, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm
Mhm.
saying. If they're getting the job done, they're getting the job done. What
Mhm.
I'm saying is that, but it's about what the expectation is. So I'll just say this, because this is not a labor a labor dispute show. But I'll say this now. This is the premise that I'm on. What you're actually paying for, why you are on call for your wife and your family 100% of the time, why you're 100% of the security, 100% of your wages and earnings, 100%. Actually, they expect a significant percent even of your free time, where technically it's free time. What you're paying for actually is their time. That's what you're paying your wife for. If you're maintaining and paying for everything, you're buying food, clothing, shelter, security, maintenance, intimacy, all that you're providing them in exchange for their time and attention. So
All right,
because you're spending 100%, in return, you actually are entitled to 100% of their time and attention, because that's what 100% of your wages is going to them. 100% of your resources is going to and for them. So in turn, you are entitled to 100% of their time, even though there may be some free time in there, lunch break or whatever you want to call it. But in general, just like you're expected as a standard to provide 100% of your resources to the benefit to the family, present, future, whatever, you're expected. The same thing should be expected as far as your time and your attention and your energy. It's expected that 100% of it is for the benefit of the group, the family. That's
okay,
where I'm at. Now,
but,
do we disagree with that?
Yeah, but go ahead.
all right, so this is going to be a wild topic. I can already see this is going to be a wild one. So to tag on to what Mubarak was saying, for me, it just ties right back into one of our previous episodes. So if you're paying for a woman's time and attention, as you said, I would actually rephrase that and say you're paying for her company, good company, bad company, average company. This is why it's super duper important for a woman to do as best as she can to be good company, because a guy would pay for a woman that has good company. You know, that's going to tie into all the things that Jaffa was saying that a woman could bring. You know, she cooks good. You know, she's pleasant to be around. Blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? So for me, if a man was paying for 100% of X, Y, and Z, the trade-off would be the good company and companionship of a quality woman. But we already talked about this. Most, I'm going to say most, I don't care if people get butthurt, most women are average or even below average, and they think that they are above average. And this creates that dynamic that we was talking about. But if a woman was just, good company, quality, and all these different things, knew how to be a wife, knew how to, be a homemaker, all these different type of things, could cook well, most men would be comfortable with putting out 100%, 98%, 99% into that type of, I guess I don't want to reduce them to a stock, but into that type of investment. The problem is majority of women are actually bad company. They're not good company. They're actually bad company, which creates the problem. And then the guy does not feel like his 100% or 99% or whatever you want to, label it, that contribution is not worth what he's receiving, because a lot of times on the other end, it's bad company. So this is how I'm kind of doing what you guys are saying. That's my take.
So if so, the and I think as far as your conduct and being good company, whatever, it plays into it. But I don't think it's I think this is coming in a little bit ahead of that. It's like before we get to how your conduct is at the job and how you're there, it's basically what actually is expected. So this is the thing, and I think men in general have the wrong mindset. We're looking at it as, okay, I'm doing all this because this woman is going to be a good company and I'm going to get some intimacy out of it or whatever. Maybe she might cook or not, but I think it is setting the bar so low and for so long. And even where Jaffer, I haven't heard his whole take yet, but I feel like that he's about to set this bar so low for these women and that's why they love him. That's why they love him.
You know he might set that bar. You know he might set that bar low.
This man is about to put the bar on the floor. But the thing is, we are expected to produce 100%. Whatever we have, it is a standard that we give it for the cause of the family. Why is it not the same? It's not the same role. It's not the same role. It's not the same jobs. But as far as my time, my attention, my energy, and everything is expected to be directed, focused. The intensity is on the overall group, the family, and moving us forward and helping us. So the wife, you're paying, all that is for her to actually match that energy in her area, whatever that is.
They can't do that.
No.
They can't do
but
it.
This is the problem. We have accepted that, oh, they can't. Listen, I know that I'm putting forth 100% effort. You're never going to, a man is not going to be comfortable with not giving all that he can do for what he's agreed that his goals are and what he agreed his role is. But we keep accepting. We want to accept that. See, I see just the little.
Let me get this out. Let me say this before Jaffer jumps in, because I'm saying this. I mean, I feel like, truthfully, I've been doing a lot of fluffing. I've been doing as much fluffing and trying to be as diplomatic as possible, but I can't take it anymore. Majority of women, I'm sorry to say, they act like or behave like big toddlers, big children, and they get plausible deniability because of this. You know, they can kind of waffle back and forth. You are expected and you will be held accountable if you don't bring 100% or bare minimum 99% to the table of resources. Whereas a woman, she can waffle, flop around. She gets these little, as Jaffer would call it, breaks, the 15-minute breaks. Oh, I'm on my period. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you know what I'm saying? I'm pregnant. Ooh. You know, women have this built-in plausible deniability card that society and everyone else allows them to just waffle back and forth. If you go out, you're working, you're putting in 10, 12-hour shifts, your wife can literally, and everyone just accepts it. She could just say, oh, I was bored, so I just messed with this other guy. You're not there. You're never there. You don't give me attention. They always have a backdoor escape hatch. This is just the truth. They always have that built in.
Real quick.
They're not held to these type of standards. You know, it doesn't matter that you are out there busting your butt for 10 or 12 hours. She can literally just say, oh, he's not giving me attention. I've been neglected, and this is why I did that. And then the excuse will be, women are emotional. You guys get. So all I'm basically saying is what Mubarak is saying is true. I know Jaffer's going to come at it with a whole different take or whatever. But the truth of the matter is women get coddled and treated like big children, and men get treated like grown men. And we're held to that standard, and you better not spend more than 2% on yourself. You're going to be looked at as less than a man. You feel what I'm saying? Whereas a woman, she's free to float around and do whatever she pleases with the 2 hours of work time that you have, you know, expecting her to put in work. If she gets the job done, it would make more sense from my angle. Let's say she produces the 100 cookies or 100 donuts in 6 hours and she has 2 hours left. The prudent thing to do would be, if you produce 100 cookies in 6 hours or whatever, take another 2 hours and produce another 20 or 30 cookies. But you're not going to do that. You're going to take that time and give it to someone else and do something else that's not going to directly go into the family, where it's not going to be a our thing. It's going to be, oh, I'm going to take these 2 hours and do whatever I want to do with it. I personally would not agree with that.
The point is,
let me ask you a question first. We got to address some things before I forget. Before I forget, we got to address some things. First, I got to ask this question to both of y'all. I think I know the answer, but I want to be clear. Do y'all want to be married to a woman or a woman that acts like a man?
I want to be
married to a woman that acts like a woman or a woman that acts like a man. Just be clear.
I want to be married to a woman that acts like a woman, but
okay, cool.
Hold on. I know where he's going.
No, hold on.
I know where he's going.
Get away with that.
Yeah, hold on. I know where he's going with that. I want to be married to a quality woman that acts like an actual
quality. Yeah, you're a quality woman, but you want a quality woman that acts like a woman, not a quality woman that acts like a man. Right?
But you know what? You know what, Jaffer? I see where you're going. Derek
Jackson. It's not going to work. It ain't going to work. It ain't going to work.
Listen, man. I'm telling you. Okay, let me just give you this scenario. What happens regularly?
Wait, you didn't answer my question yet.
Listen, no, because the question is obvious. It's almost rhetorical, but you want to try to you're giving them, and this is the problem. I think what you are doing and what we do in general is we let them off the hook constantly for stuff that actually they shouldn't be.
Let them off the hook for what?
For instance, let me give you a scenario. You might go to work. You might be going for 10 hours, 12 hours. And they may be at home. And the only thing they actually had to do, and you have said this many times over the years, okay? The only thing they had to do was clean up or whatever the case may be. It might have been an hour and a half worth of work. You come back 10 hours later, they have either they're rushing to straighten up or whatever they were doing, or maybe they didn't do it at all, and then there's some excuse. I mean, the excuses that I've heard, I've been going for 2-3 weeks sometimes, and it's literally 2 hours worth of work. I come back 2 weeks later, not done. And then we just accepted the excuses. Well, I was about to do this, but okay, what was it that prevented you from doing this? No excuse. But we're just like, all right, man, just women. But now, if you flip it around,
first, that's not just women.
Okay, that's people.
That's that woman that did that.
Okay.
That's not. Yeah, that's okay. So go ahead.
On a regular basis, men come home and things that should have been done in the house for these housewives. Okay, these housewives, and people will say, "Oh, I thought you loved housewives." I do, but the thing is, they're not treating it, and they are sucking and sapping the productivity out of. You're paying them for something, and they literally doing other stuff. But let me give you the example, right? If it was the other way around, right? You expected me to go to work. For instance, I got dressed for work and I left the house, but instead I just went to the park and played basketball for 10 hours or whatever. And then you're like, oh yeah, man. Well, he just made $500 a day or whatever, however much. Okay, now we can do this, that, and other. And it's like, then I come back, I'm sweating and whatever, and like, oh, I thought you went to work. You went to the basketball court. Why? I can't even give you a reason why. I can't explain it. I did not do what I was supposed to do that day. No one would accept it. They would be like, this man, even if I said, well, I went to work for a couple hours and then I took off early because now your check is short or whatever. So no one is going to accept that type of productivity from a man. And I'm not saying that a woman has to be the same as a man. We don't have the same job. We don't have the same roles. But it's time to start expecting the same level of productivity in your role, and the same dedication and the same energy and effort with your time towards the goals that we're supposed to be doing as a family, instead of every time you fall short, we let you off the hook, whatever it is that you're supposed to be doing. But when I fall short, it's unacceptable. I cannot have a day where I don't produce what I'm expected to produce. Day off from work, going to work, whatever it might be, you have to be on point 100% of the time. Now, I'm saying we have to hold women to the same standard. Your effort, your energy, and your time in your role has to match your energy. Why? Why? I see your face, Joff. Why? Tell me why this is unacceptable. Please tell me.
Okay, so to get to what I want to talk about, you first have to have the right mind frame before you start talking about any issue, and you have to keep apples with apples. The first thing I want to establish is that, and you can answer the question: do you see, like when you asked us, how much do you guys spend on yourselves, right? Individual question, and maybe most of us three had similar answers. But let's say we represent all men, and we represent the majority of men. Where majority of men spend 99% of their money on their family, right? Okay,
that would be accurate in my assessment. Majority of men do.
I would say what the accurate statement is that majority of good men spend the majority of their money on their families. But
I mean, it's in the high 90s. It's in the high 90s.
Plenty of men also spend a significant amount of money on themselves, and that would differ based off of their difference between their disposable income. I'll put it at that. Well,
hold on.
Let's just say, yeah.
Hold on. Okay, let's make sure that we zero that down. We're talking about married men, correct? Was that okay? So let's leave out the other. Majority of married men spend on their families, high 90s to maybe 100%. Will we agree on that?
I'll just say majority. I don't know how much the majority is. I'll just say majority, and I'll say
majority is going to be 51%. That would be above 50%. Can we agree on that?
Yep.
Okay, good.
And
make sure we have that clear.
And a significant, I don't know whether it's majority or minority, will not say that they spend 99% of their money on their family. There will be a significant portion that, I spend about this much on myself to do X, Y, Z, right? That I do this and I do that.
I don't think that number is leaving the 90s. I don't think it's ever leaving the
90s. It's not the norm for men to spend 100% of their money and not spend anything on themselves. I think we are not in that aspect. We are not representing the majority of men. We might be representing a significant of men, right? It's because there's a lot of men. Most of the men I know spend money on themselves, just solely for them to do what they want to do, right? And I think that number will increase as their disposable income increases, because the whole point is that men are expected to provide, support, protect, and all that. But the real issue here is that we spend, this is what we do. We spend 100%, damn near 100% of our money, our finances on our wife and children, right? Just because we do something, does that equate to an expectation from the recipient of what we're doing?
Yes, if it's just like when you get into an agreement, just like if you have a business partner, right?
Did you get into your marriage and say, your wife said, I expect you to spend 100% of your income on me and the kids?
It's the expectation. They don't have to say it. They expect it.
I disagree. I disagree.
I don't. They expect it.
I didisagree.
Go actually do a test.
If you're taking care of your responsibilities, you're taking care of their needs, right? And you have disposable income, right? And you take that, and like Hussein said, does your wife complain you bought yourself a video game? You spent money on yourself? Oh my God! I did not expect you to spend money on yourself.
Hold on. That's why. Hold on. That's exactly why it's not realistic that it's 100%. You know, for some people it could be 100%, but for the majority of people, married men, it's still, in my opinion, going to be in the high 90s, high to mid 90s, from my experience.
Okay. So can we agree that it's not actually an expectation from your wife that you spend 100% of your funds on her?
Okay, yeah, I'm actually going to agree with that. But listen, hold on, y'all. Even if you said 95%, think about what we're saying. Think about what you're saying, Jaffer. The woman does come in with the expectation of at least 95%.
No, she doesn't.
listen. Hold on. Let me finish.
No, she doesn't.
Let me finish.
No, she does. You just finished.
Okay.
That was your point.
Hold on,
That's the
hold on.
point.
Let me give an example. Let me give
it a dream world, man.
Hold on. Let me get my position out real quick. It's above 90% that this woman is going to expect for you to do, and then they would then go and get their own money. This is what when they get their own money, they do whatever they want to do and say whatever they're going to do. My money is my money, because they have the expectation of you to put in, even if they come with 2 or 3 children, you are expected to put in at least 90% of your income to those children.
So, Jeff Bezos, if he gets married, no, let me ask a question. Jeff Bezos, who's a multi-billionaire, gets married. You're telling me his wife expects him to spend 95% of his wealth on her?
May I say
Absolutely.
May I say something?
Y'all live in a dream world.
May I say something? May I say something, sir? May I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is why women who make the most, I'm going to say this last part. This is why women who even make as much as their husband or above, they still expect him to come in and take off all of the load off of her.
Now we're narrowing down. Let's get off of this percentage. Let's get off of this percentage. A woman, when she gets married to a man, in most cases, expects her man to provide her with the majority of his wealth. Can we agree on that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That means there's going to be a certain amount of wealth that she doesn't expect him to just give to her.
And I'm telling you that number is less than 10%. That number is less than 10%.
Okay, just for argument's sake.
When I started, hold up. See, y'all, you ran off or up the mountain with this thing. Listen, I started with how much of your money do you have exclusively set aside that's only for you? There's no potential. There's no expectation. Don't even think about this. This is for me. I'm buying something that's for me. No one else is going to partake in these funds or these things. It's just for me.
Right.
And so basically we all agreed that there's no percentage. It's 0%. That's where we started. It's 0% where you now hold up. So when you mentioned Jeff Bezos might have $95 billion, and he might be spending $1 billion yearly or whatever, just maintaining the wife, the family, the kids, or whatever. But still, if he starts doing something exclusively spending that other $94 billion, just him, it doesn't matter how comfortable she is. She's going to be like, what the F is going on? How are you exclusively? You're saying, well, this is just for me. No, you know what she says when, hold on. Wait. When she sees that 95 billion, she says, we have 95 billion. She ain't talking to, she ain't thinking, okay, I'm comfortable, everything. Well, there's another 94 billion over there. It's the expectation that if and when he starts to spend it, she's going to be a recipient of whatever
some of that money.
Come with it.
Of some of that money, right?
Listen.
Hold on.
Keyword, some. Because here's what you did. Instead of just asking the question, because this is the question you should have started with, not what we do. Your question was you were trying to set up a false premise of what is expected. You should have asked, what do your wives expect you to spend any money on yourselves? Or do your wives expect you to spend 100%? Because there's others. We'll get to the end of it. You're trying to set up that, you already said it, that if you are expected to spend 100% of your wealth, which even this setup is wrong in marriage dichotomy, but we'll just go with this. If you're expected to spend 100% of your wealth on your wife, then you should expect a wife to spend 100% of her time on you. That's what you're trying to set up. However, the problem with that is that you didn't actually get to what does your wife expect from you? Does a woman really realistically expect you, a man, her husband, to spend 100% of his wealth on her? And that is just not true. You have to ask women for that. I disagree, because I know my wife, neither one of my wives or any woman I ever met in my entire life actually expected her significant other to spend 100% of the money on her. Never in my life have I met someone like that.
So
well, that's what I'm here to inform you, that they not only exist, but they're everywhere. And probably, and I'll give you an example. Whenever you have 2 wives, go ahead and spend some money at that other place, or buy
some. You keep it on the same. You keep on seeing how you're going off. Go ahead and spend some money on somebody else, and then she's gonna want that. Well, now we're talking about polygamy. Right now, let's not talk about polygamy. We're talking about husband and wife.
No. It's in general. In general, you are going to, and I don't even understand why this is even why this is even a debate. This was supposed to take.
That could be a problem, Mark. You know why you can't understand it? No. Because, and this goes to the real issue, right? You're viewing marriage relationship. You are a transactional person, because you equated a marriage to time and money, as if the woman is only expecting money, and the only thing you're expecting from her is time, something that can be quantified. When in fact, women actually.
What's the topic of today's show?
Whether women should work. Whether women should work.
So this is why this is being set up this way. This was supposed to take 5 minutes, by the way. We've been on for an hour. This is literally just the setup to lay out why I have my view on about women working or not. And this is the thing.
All right, we'll let you finish your point. Go ahead, and I'll say my point.
So, one thing that is expected when a man is working, he's expected that his time, energy, resources are put towards the family, their maintenance, and their goals. Okay? So, similarly, and we can disagree on this. As a standard, I expect the same level of intensity in your role as a wife as I have or am held to in my role as a husband. I don't understand. Can we at least agree to that, Jafar? That you expect a wife to have the same level of commitment and dedication in her role as a wife that you do as a husband? Can we agree to that?
No.
Oh.
No.
What? So you don't expect them to have the same level of dedication and commitment to their job, to their role? I'm not saying. All right, okay, all right, okay.
No, I'm curious, Jaffer. Please do expound. This is interesting. This is
I'm befuddled.
This is actually fascinating. I want to hear Jaffer's take on this. So why would you expect something like that?
So you don't have the same level of expectation. Your commitment. You don't expect them to have the same level of commitment.
No, why would you?
No. Give me your take on that, Jaffer.
Why would you? Okay, so I'm gonna try to give you. Y'all have kids.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have the same expectations of all your kids?
I mean, I know some of them have different capabilities, but the expectation to put forth what they should in their area, their role, what they should be able to do. Yes, I have the same. I have the same expectations for what they're capable of. Yeah.
Okay, that's a bad way to lead. Very bad way to lead. If you're coaching a basketball team, do you have the same expectations of LeBron James versus, I don't know, whatever dude is on his team? Do you have the same expectations for all your players?
I have the same expectation for your role, your level. Okay, if you have a rebounder, he sets screens and he rebounds and he plays defense.
Okay. I'm
expecting the same level of commitment to that role, defense, rebounding, or whatever, and the scorer or the.
However you want, you're trying to break it down to. I'm just trying to get you to understand the concept of that. You can't have the same expectation for two different people, right? Let me finish. Whether you want to break it down to their commitment is you can have an expectation of their commitment. You can have an expectation to their tenacity. You can have an expectation for their skill. You can have all sorts of expectations for all different types of qualities. And now when you start putting expectations, the same expectations that you have from one person onto another person, you are not effectively leading that one person. Now, I have a certain skill set, I have a certain determination, I have a certain dedication that applies to me. And where leaders go wrong all the time is like, I want this person to do exactly like I do. I work after hours. I'm committed to this company. I work after hours. I expect y'all to be just as committed and dedicated.
No, hold on, hold on. Mubarak.
You literally took what I said and just ran away with it.
Mubarak, let me deal with this.
I'm trying to explain to y'all that if you are a leader in any capacity, whether it's parenting, whether it's being a husband, whether it's being a boss, a manager, or supervisor, if you are basing expectations for an individual based on your own standards for yourself or the standards of somebody else, you are not being an effective leader to that person.
Hold on, let me take this. Hold on, Mubarak. Let me deal with this. Go ahead. I understand what Jaffer is doing. Respectfully, Jaffer, you just said a bunch of word salad. That's not even what we're. Hold on.
You guys don't know about this stuff, and that could be a problem.
Hold on, brother. Let me simplify what I believe and understand Mubarak to be saying, because you just went off onto the yellow brick road. We weren't even talking about that. We're talking about this. Listen to what I'm about to say. If a husband, he wants to perform his duties, what he's supposed to be doing at a clip of, let's say, 90 to 95%. He's trying to perform at this clip of what he's supposed to be doing, maintaining, protecting, providing, yada, yada, yada. He would realistically have the expectation of his wife to perform her duties as a woman, as a mother, as a caretaker, homemaker, at an equal clip of her abilities. So basically, if the man is performing at 95%, we'll say 90 because most of us, we ain't getting 90. Well, if he's performing at 90%, he's making his salats, he's taking care of his business, he's doing all the different things. His wife, he has the expectation that she should be performing at a 90 to 95% clip of her duties, maintaining the house, cooking, cleaning. We're not talking about no basketball team or children. We're not dealing with none of that. We're dealing with, hold on, between two people when we our wives to be performing. Think about what he's saying. He's basically saying, in a nutshell, the man, and when the man is expected to perform here, he gets held accountable and he cannot dip. The woman, she's way down at 22%, 18%, on whatever she wants, and there's no accountability, and she can bounce from 5% all the way up to 32%. She probably maxes out at 39%. The man is expecting the husband, and I think that's a fair expectation for his wife to get on that level and perform her duties at an equal clip in a percentage sense. This is what we're talking about.
So what you're saying is, correct me if I'm wrong.
I spoke clear English.
Yeah, so correct me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to put it in a way that maybe you might be able to see the fault of what you're saying, is that if you, let's just say, assume that Hussein, you are a perfect husband. You expect your wife to be a perfect wife.
No one said that. No one said that.
Okay, that's extreme.
He said,
that's why I said 90%.
I'll give you an extreme example to show you the problem, right? If you are a 90% husband, as you put it, you expect your wife to be a 90% wife. Yes or no?
What's wrong with that? Yeah, I would have the expectation of that. What's
wrong with that? So you are basing your expectations of your wife based on you. Is it okay if you are a 30% husband that your wife is a 30% wife?
Well, again, we just talked about that. We're matching each other. If you're 30%,
if you're a bad husband, you should expect a bad wife.
Why would you expect a good wife if you're a bad husband and bad leader? That don't even make sense. You're
So
still
that's
leading.
so you agree.
You're still
let me try to
leading.
So you agree.
Jaffer.
I'm trying to tell y'all, we can move on from this point, but I'm trying to tell y'all, you basing your expectations.
You are the leader, Jaffer.
Yeah, I know.
You're not
Okay,
I'm trying to give y'all a basic thing, and maybe y'all won't understand it, maybe you will. If you are basing your expectations of an individual based off of not that individual,
it's not some random individual. It's your wife. It's the one you committed your life to.
yeah, I'm that, okay. If you're basing, we'll talk specifically. If you're basing your expectations of your wife off of anything other than your wife, then you're not leading her correctly.
That makes no sense.
I realize it doesn't to you.
Let me say this last thing, and after this, I'm going to give up. So, I am expected to go to work. Hold up. I'm expected to go to work and clock in, work for 8 hours, and then come home 5 days a week. Let's just say that. That's the expectation. That's what I've committed to for the family. I'm going to work. That's my commitment. Okay? So, on the other hand, my wife, the expectation, the commitment is that she, let's just make it very simple. Cook 3 meals a day. Vacuum the living room. And change a diaper or 2. Now, that's her commitment. That's the expectation. We're not getting into the nuances of how good a cook she is or not or whatever. I'm expected to do that 5 days a week. Let's just say she's expected to do that 5 days a week. Vacuum, cook a meal, babysit some kids. And hold up, that's the expectation. Is that reasonable or unreasonable, Jafar? I don't need a soliloquy. Just tell me, is that just a reasonable expectation, or am I expecting too much?
Sure, if that's what you want out of a marriage, yeah.
No, I'm just no. When I get into what we're just trying to set something up, because for whatever reason, it's just this is getting lost.
Listen,
hold on, wait.
Okay, you asked me a question. Go ahead.
Let me just finish. I just wanted a yes or no, because
okay.
If I go further than this, then it's going to be lost. So
I don't. So the real answer to your question is I don't know if it's reasonable because I don't know the individual you're talking about. That's a simple answer.
You're talking about from the general sense.
Just a normal woman with a brain and 2 arms and 2 legs. That's it.
Don't know the individual, so I don't know if that's reasonable or not.
You don't know if it's reasonable for me. This is it.
No.
Bro, it's okay. Hold up. Listen. Okay, let's do this then. The individual comes and says, "This is what I can do for the family. This is what I can do. I can cook 3 meals a day. I can vacuum the living room, and I can."
Okay, there we go. That's a better way to frame it. Yep.
Now, that's the expectation. That's the commitment. That's a level of commitment. Okay, what I can do is I'll bring in the money so that you can stay in this house or whatever, and I'll bring in the food or whatever. You just cook the food, okay? So the expectation, the commitment is I'm committing to bringing the food in. You commit to cooking the food 5 days a week. I bring the food in, but all of a sudden, you or she is only going to cook 3 days a week. Is it unreasonable for me to expect, when I get into the taste of the food, the quality, time, is it on time, is it cold? We're not worried about that. If she literally only cooks 3 days a week, I'm committing and bringing forth 5 days a week. I bring the food 5 days a week. She only cooks 3 days a week. You find that to be acceptable? I can't expect for you to match the commitment in your role, what you are agreeing and is needed. So instead, I should be like, well, she only cooked 3 days. Well, I mean, based on the type of person in this character.
Who said you should do any of that?
You said that we can't expect someone to match what their commitment in their role.
No. See, this is the problem, and this is where you guys are like missing the boat on all this. Now you're actually starting to frame things correctly. You married her, and she said, "I can do this. This is what I'm going to do, and this is what." Have an expectation based off of what that individual said that they can do and will do is a reasonable thing because you're basing your expectation off of that person, off of that individual. Now, this is what you were saying before. You were saying, "I'm capable If I wanted to, I could cook 5 days a week, dessert, snacks every night. So since I'm capable of doing that, I'm expecting that from you too.
I didn't say that. I did not say that. What I said was
what you said is since I'm capable of spending 100% of my responsibility in my job, I expect you to do the same.
No, I didn't say because I'm capable. I said we are expected. We are expected. This is the expectation.
Okay.
This is the standard, the normal standard expectation.
That's not
let's
just say
this. Now,
go ask when y'all get off this show. I want y'all to do me a favor. Ask y'all wives. Do you expect me to spend 100% of my money on you and never spend on myself? And then y'all think about when they give you the answer. I want you to think about what you're saying.
Jaffer, you're saying that I never said that. So I'm going to be clear. I never said that my wife has the expectation, or any woman for that matter, of me spending 100%. That's unrealistic.
So be clear on this. I'm going to be clear. So women don't expect 100% of your wealth.
I don't believe that to be true. What did I say?
When Mark says it is expected for men to spend 100% of their wealth on women, you don't agree with him.
Hold on, stop. Mubarak, let me deal with this. Hold on, let me deal with this. We're not going to play these little word games. Mubarak was very clear about what he said, and that's why he asked us, what are we expected to do? What?
No, he didn't ask that. He didn't ask that.
No, yes, he did. No,
he said, "What do y'all do?"
No, hold on. About the percentage of what we do.
I said what you set aside exclusively for yourself. No one else has access to or whatever, and it's going to be for most people, for most men in a marriage, they're almost never going to say,
like 1%.
Going to have dedicated, dedicated something that's just for me, and then you better not even think about this. This is mine, my money, my resources, my wealth, my time, or whatever. They don't. I mean, that doesn't happen. And this was my point.
We already agreed.
It's a question of what you do. There's a difference between what you do, and there's a difference between saying what is expected. What you do and what is expected from you are two different things.
What is expected? Hold on. What is expected? And like I already said, majority of women are going to come in and expect you to spend at least 90% of your earnings on them, and even if they have children that are not yours, on their children and their lifestyle. This is what majority of women are going to expect. So let's just clear the air. I never said 100%.
Again, let me pin you down, Hussein. It's not what I'm asking. So you do not agree with Mubarak saying that women expect men to pay 100% of their wealth to them.
I didn't say that.
I do not.
Let me tell you what I said.
I can't wait to play. I'm going to clip this up for y'all.
Flip it up. Let me tell you what I said. Let me, or put it this way. Let me clarify.
Okay. Yes. Clarify.
100%, or very, very close to it. Very, very close to it.
Jaffer said that too.
So listen, 100% or very, very close to it of a man's time, his resources, his energy is put towards his family, his wife, his children, and taking and maintaining. You will almost find that you will find almost comparatively, it's going to be microscopic compared to things that you have exclusively, where no one else can even think about enjoying or partaking in what you have set up for yourself. It's almost non-existent. And the
we all agreed on that. We all agreed. Jaffer agreed on that.
We didn't.
You did, Jaffer. Yes, you did. You agreed on that.
Okay, listen. This is going round and round. This whole thing was just to set up the point of where, but Jaffer disagrees. The simple thing is that your commitment to the relationship and the growth of it, the goals of the family, you have a certain level of commitment to that. You want to see the family grow. You want to see your kids flourish. You want to see your living situation improve. You want to see your financial situation, go on a upward trajectory. All these things that Usually, in a normal, healthy, functioning relationship, that's what you want. That's what your wife wants. And you are expected to be committed and dedicated to the upward progression and the benefit of the family and those within it. So you would be looked at as less than, or definitely in a negative light, if you diverted some of your time, energy, and resources away from the family and their goals to something that was purely just for you and was known, this is just for me. For instance, if you have kids, you got kids, your kids are growing, you're in a 3-bedroom house, you got 9, 10 kids or whatever, and instead of saying, you know what, I'm gonna upgrade the house to a 5 or 6 bedroom or whatever, or something like that, instead, I'm gonna just buy me a little apartment over here so I can chill over there, you know, with the boys or something like that. You would be looked at as not only someone who's selfish, not a good partner or a husband, and you're not committed to the overall goals and the family in general. You're committed to yourself. You would be looked at that way. So let me push this can down the road, because this is all I'm trying to say. And all this was to get to this point here. The level of commitment to the success of the family has to be the same. The role doesn't the same. The activity is not the same. But you're saying, listen, I'm committed to help this team win. You want me to rebound? Okay, I'll do it. You want me to just set screens? Okay, I'll do it. Do I need to come off the bench and be the 6th man? Fine, whatever. But you got to be committed to it. And whatever you can do, whatever you are doing, should be moving the family forward, or should be going towards the goals of the group. It shouldn't be where, you know, so that's like someone taking their ball and shooting on a goal that's not even on the court that we're playing on, saying, because I need to score. It's not helping anything that's going on over here. So that's why I say, with that in mind, that everybody needs to be growing in the same direction. Therefore, looking at your wife and her skill set, you should be looking to maximize the skill set of your wife. If she can work and is willing to, of course, this is what I say this, number one. If she is willing to work, if she wants to work, or if she has a skill set in which she can make a good amount of money and that it will be worth it, her time and effort, then you should encourage her to work, almost demand her to work, if that is what's best for the family. I didn't have this, I actually was against a woman working at all. But after looking at the data, looking at all the evidence, really pondering on it, I say you have to maximize your wife's skill set. Just like a man maximizes his skill set, the wife must maximize her skill set, and the husband has to play a role in that. If she would be better for the family overall, if she's working instead of at home, just taking care of the kids or whatever, then that would be better. So it depends on the situation. Should you allow your wife to work or not? It depends on her skill set and what the family needs. If you have 5 or 6 kids and you're going to be doing daycare, they need to be taught or whatever, then it might not be what's best for the family for her to work. But you do have to maximize her skill set, your skill set, towards the overall growth and benefit of the family. So that seems. Do you have any disagreements with that, Chef Jaffer?
I tuned out a little bit, so I was doing some administrative stuff. Say it again. The last part.
So, so the wife's skill set should be maximized for the overall benefit of the family. So if she is going to be a person that can make good money, and the amount of money that she can make is going to be more beneficial for her to go out and work instead of staying home and being a homemaker or whatever, then I say, I used to be against a woman working at all, but now I say that they actually should do it. They should do it, and you should strongly encourage them to work if that is going to be beneficial overall for the family. Now, you have to maximize your skill set. If the family is going to overall benefit more with her being that homemaker, caretaker, teacher, and all that stuff, then that's it. But the same level of commitment to the overall growth of the family should be there. The man is expected to put his commitment forward. If he's best at working, making the money, whatever, the wife's, the same thing should be looked at to where if she can benefit the family in a better way for the group working, then she should work. And if not, then she should stay home. So do you have any disagreements with that statement?
The only part about you putting in the qualitative part about commitment. That's it. But the general rule of if this benefits overall is beneficial to the relationship and the family, yes, that's good to follow as a general rule. But throwing in there qualitative, not qualitative, commitment is an aspect if you look at it as of productivity and your family success.
Okay.
Right.
So when I say commitment, I mean this. If it's understood, okay, you're best suited to work. That means your commitment is that you're actually going to go and get a job and work. That's the commitment.
Mm-hmm.
So is that acceptable for me to say commitment, or should I use a different word?
No, commitment is like dedication, how much effort you're putting into it. Like that's like saying, okay, like you should. I spend 95% of my time committed to going to work, right? I'm sleeping to go to work. I'm eating to go to work. This is all my, I'm committed to this, right?
I think we have.
You see that works into the productivity of me going to work, right? That's the outcome. That's productivity, work. But commitment is, for instance, I'll give you a good example. We'll use sports. Was Dennis Rodman as committed to being a rebounder and defensive player as, say, Michael Jordan was to being the scorer on the team?
I mean, that wasn't his role, so he wasn't committed to that at all.
I'm saying like Michael Jordan spent, let's say 100. We'll use that same context we're using. Michael Jordan spent 100% of his time, effort into being the scorer on the team, right? Do you think Dennis Rodman spent 100% of his time committed to being the rebounder on the team?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Dennis Rodman on his, like Michael Jordan on his off time, he's shooting, going to the gym 2-3 hours. I'm going to be a better scorer, right? Michael. As far as their production, that's what I'm trying to say. The production, though.
We're talking about the game. Like that stuff is that's intense. This stuff you can't really quantify it in a way that matches up, because what a person might do is that's like saying, like trying to figure out the how committed mentally, like in their heart or mind. We're not getting into that. The commitment is, or what I'm saying is, what I'm basing on is this: do you get up and go to work on the days that you're scheduled? That's what I can't commitment. You committed to do it, and you're actually doing it.
Okay.
Same level of commitment. Okay. So maybe my definition is off, but that's what I'm saying. So, but you don't agree with if the wife has the skill set and that skill set is more suited and it will be more beneficial to the overall goals of the family. If she works, then that's acceptable. If not, then she stays home. Okay.
100%. 100%.
Let's move on to the next step, because this is where I wanted to get to all along. I thought it would take 5 minutes, but here we are. Now, this is what I say. If a woman works and she's married and she's committed to the relationship, then she should turn over 100% of her check, whatever she earns, to her husband. 100%.
All right, let me jump in.
100%.
Hold on. Let me jump in real quick.
100%.
Hold on,
Hundo, 100%.
Hold on.
Not 99, not 99, not 98. 100% of her check should be turned over.
Let me get in here because I don't want this to get wonky. Actually, when we was talking about doing this episode, I was like, man, I'm probably going to just chill on the sideline because I know my take is going to be wild. Yeah. So look, I actually agree with Mubarak. Now with an asterisk. Or caveat. It don't have to be 100%. But in the context and the way he framed that, I actually agree with my experience. This is a very effective method. So not 100%, but she is committed. And you and the man, y'all discuss, okay, when you go out and you do your thing, this is your skill set. You're going to set this portion aside and we're going to do X, Y, and Z, blah, 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 blah. This actually is very effective, despite what people might think or believe. But the problem is, once women start, you know, they don't know how to behave when they get to those levels or heights. A lot of them, not all of them, too many of them don't know how to behave when they get to those heights, and it causes problems. Let's say that she starts making more money than you. Me personally, how I have my situation set up, if my wife started making more money than me, I'm just going to keep it a buck. She's going to turn over 100% of the proceeds or whatever to me. No, she's actually going to do for nothing because she trusts my guidance. She trusts my leadership. She trusts my my business acumen and my abilities to be able to perform at a high level and a high clip with that money. She understands that I have a background in finances. I've been doing this forever. She's very comfortable with that. So if my wife happened to hit the lottery or she just land some big gig and she starts eclipsing me in money, she's going to come to me and still go funnel that money directly under me and through me, and everything is going to be fine, inshallah. If I don't go,
I want to use this as, I don't want to talk about your personal situation, but let's just say someone in your situation where right now the husband's wife doesn't make more than him, right? She totally trusts his business acumen and all these different things, how he can make money, right?
Yeah.
And this gets into some of the negative aspects of it that we need to talk about.
This is not for everybody, though. It's not for everybody, but you got to know who you're marrying.
Yeah, as soon as she actually does start making more money than you, even with all your business acumen and financial knowledge and all that, how likely is it that she's going to be like, wait a minute, I should give him all my money? Do I really trust his business acumen when I just got a job and now I actually make more money than him?
You asking me that question? Hold on.
In most situations, what would, not your specific situation, I'm talking about in most situations, what would happen at that point would go on in her mind like, wait a minute, I thought this dude was Bill Gates and you know, he had all this investment knowledge, and wait, I got a job and I make more money than him. Should I give my money to him?
That leads right into what I just said. Most women are going to misbehave and start conflating things and feeling like they're outranking their husband because they quote unquote out earn them. Most women are going to have this mindset. You know, it's kind of like if you, I'll use the child. I have to use the child again. I'm sorry, but it is what it is. Let's say your child gets this big time job, and or he or she becomes a YouTuber, and you've been taking care of the household, doing all this stuff for, you know, a decade, 20 years, whatever, and this child becomes a YouTube famous overnight or something. This child is then going to start, oh man, I make more than my dad. I make more than my dad. They're going to sidestep all of the other things and all of the other responsibilities and levels that you put up or set up to make sure that was maintained. That you could have been paying the internet the whole time. They ain't paid nothing. You paying the internet bill. You bought them a computer, a laptop, you know what I mean, all this different stuff, and then they go and get internet famous. Majority of the children, if they're not groomed or trained or brought up properly, are going to start feeling themselves thinking that, oh, I make more money than my dad. Women do the same exact thing. They do the same exact thing.
And men, women, everybody does the same exact thing.
You can't, no, Joshua, I know you keep running with that and trying to say everybody. No, we're talking about the dynamics here. When a man makes money and he's at the height, he's thinking about how he can take care of his family. When a woman makes more money and starts, she's going to, we know what they say, my money is my money. And you know, and you don't have no control over it, like you're trying to control somebody's money. It works better when the woman, if she's making money and she trusts her husband. It's not for everybody, because you have some men who are terrible with money. But if the woman trusts the husband and she believes in his abilities, his guidance, his judgment, it is practical and pragmatic that she funnels that money. Not 100%. I'm not saying 100%, but she makes sure that the finances go through the one who's been dealing with that for 20, 30 years.
I'll say this, and this was kind of my take on the whole woman working thing. And the big message, and I don't want to go into the details because we're going too long, is pretty much what Mubarak said. If it's beneficial, right? That's the thing, right? But there's a lot of factors that go into is this beneficial? Okay. And the main part about whether it's beneficial is, one, especially living in the West, you have to consider what type of person you are actually married to. That's like the real question. What type of person are you married to? One of the things, and one of the major causes for divorces and separation or marital angst or whatever, and a significant, it's not the major reason, a significant reason why women are the ones that seek divorces the most, is because they don't actually find like fulfillment in their marriage, especially housewives, right? They don't have any fulfillment, right? They don't feel like, oh, I did something with my life. They feel like empty because, unfortunately, it's like negative to be a housewife nowadays, which it shouldn't be, which is something we have to do within our households with our children to like glorify that position, make it a thing, especially for our daughters, because nowadays when you grow up, right, it's like you're nothing if you didn't go to college, or you're a loser. Then if you went to college and you didn't get a job or a career in your field, then it's like, oh, you didn't accomplish nothing. But really, the woman could be sitting home, taken care of, rich husband, have everything she need, but somehow she thinks she's lower than this woman that has to work 80 hours a week, but she's working in the career she went to. It's like a psychological thing. So anyway, like you have to make sure that your wives find fulfillment in their lives, right? That's part of what we have to do as men, husbands, and leaders, right? So there's that whole discussion, but
I agree with that. 100%.
Here's the big risk, and this is my position on it, is that one, if a man decides or finds that it is more beneficial to the family, to the relationship, to the marriage, that my wife works, that he should never, ever require her to give him any money, because there's negative consequences for him and there's negative consequences for her. Now, what will happen is women, no matter how much they say my money is my money and it's your job to provide 100% of your funds to me and all that, no matter how much they say that, no matter how, like, it takes a real extremely bad woman to not have this natural characteristic. They are going to help out the household just by their nature. Even if they're selfish, if they're providing for themselves, they're going to take their money and let's say a woman spends 100% of her check on herself. Guess what? Secondarily, that takes weight off of you. What's the next thing they spend on? They spend on their children. That takes weight off of you. What's the third thing they spend on? They spend on the actual household. I want a new couch. I want curtains. I want food. I want this, that. They're going to naturally, just instinctively, help you out with your responsibilities. The problem is that when you make it a requirement, you are actually pushing them in the direction to take that position that you said, Hussein, of I'm better than you. Because what naturally happens is like, wait a minute, I'm the one providing all of this. I'm doing all this. What it does to you as a man is you start expecting something, right? We're talking about expectations. You start relying on something that could actually be taken away at any moment. So that's my position on this.
I actually agree with you, Jaffer. No, hold on 1 second, Mubarak. I do agree with Jaffer, but once again, we have to make this distinction. So if you want to just live at the status quo, you got a lot of people who are comfortable with just the status quo. I just want to, I don't like these curtains no more. I think I'll go out and buy some curtains. Fine. If the wife is in that position, what I'm talking about and what I think Mubarak is talking about is the leveling up aspect. Because
she will help you level up too. She will help you level up. Yes, she might. It might take you a little longer to get there if she's not giving you 100% of your check, or you're relying on, we're going to save on for this. But she naturally will start saying, you know what? I'm tired of buying curtains. I want a new house, or I want to send my kid to this school and that school. That's what's naturally going to happen.
Hold on. Let me get in there. You are right, but I've seen these situations play out so many times where a woman does not get to that mindset until 10, 15 years down the line.
They're naturally in it. They're born that way. They're born that way.
Jaffer, what we're talking about, once again, leveling up. A woman is going, hold on. A woman is going to be doing all that little stuff. Oh, I'm gonna buy some kids some shoes and this, that, and the other. Oh, I want this house painted differently. She's gonna be spending her money on this stuff. Where if you could do that all you want. If a man is in position, and once again, we go back to the relationship, you got to know what type of man you got. If you got a type of guy who's comfortable with that status quo too, he's okay with that. It's probably not going to work. He just goes, does his little 9 to 5, and you take some pressure off. You get a couch here and there. That's cute. But
I can provide a very compelling argument to show that actually women are more concerned about leveling up than men are.
But we need that little board where it makes the cricket sounds and stuff like that, because it ain't no way. Tell me. Come on.
Who makes more money, black men or black women?
Legally.
Black men.
Legally?
Who's more educated, black men or black women?
We've talked about this already.
Women.
Me personally, I'm not speaking for everybody. I don't believe that black women are more educated. They are. I believe that they're more enrolled, because if they were more educated, majority of them would be married.
How does education quit? Well, anyway, black women are. What did I say? Black women are more educated. Black women are more educated. Black women are make more money. Who's more easy to please? Who's more easy to please, a man or a woman?
A man.
A man. So who would be more satisfied with their current state of life, a man or a woman?
This is silly, John.
Do you see how it's a very compelling argument, but to say that a woman is just naturally just going to be satisfied with the status quo.
Jaffer, let me say this. Jaffer, this is silly. Hold on. Jaffer just said that black women are more educated or whatever. I'm saying, if y'all were more educated, but y'all complain. Black women they're the least married, least desirable. You know what I mean? Let's keep it a buck. They're the most overweight, and you don't got no companionship, and you're complaining, but yet you got the most money. Make it make sense. But then y'all, again, you're combative. No, we're gonna say what it is.
The solution is what I already said. The solution that the problem with black women, relationships in general, and I think unfortunately he may be able to be cured eventually. Hopefully we'll keep working on him, but Jaffer has been infected, and he doesn't realize that he is a perpetuator of the letting women off the hook constantly and not holding them accountable. People always say women they run from accountability. They won't take accountability. Let me finish. But the part of their lack of taking accountability is because we
that also applies to black men too.
Yeah, it does, but we don't hold them accountable. So, as I said, which y'all ran all over the mat with it, the wife, a person who has decided. I'm not talking about no mutar marriage. I'm not talking about a prostitute. I'm not talking about a girlfriend. I'm talking about a wife. You have agreed that this is the person you have chosen as your leader. You have the intention to build with this person until you die. That if it is understood and agreed that it's more beneficial for the family, for the current financial, social situation, and for the future of the family and what the goals are, if it has been understood that it's more beneficial for the wife to work as opposed to be at home taking care of the house or whatever, then she should do that. She should be encouraged to do that, and she should turn over 100% of the money she makes to the husband. I.e., that doesn't mean to give it to him to do whatever. That is so that he can then continue to do what he's already doing for the family. That way, because if she doesn't, there's a couple of things at play. Number one, she's not fully committed to you. She's not committed to you, or she does not trust you, or she's more in the area of doing the thing that she wants to do, being selfish. It's definitely possible. Now, listen, I'm not saying that every wife that works who doesn't give her husband the money is in this category. I'm saying if you say, listen, I want you to go to work. I want you to work. These are our goals or whatever. Looking at your skill set, looking at your degrees or your qualifications or your skills, it's better, more beneficial for us instead of you babysitting for you to go to work and work XYZ. Then instead of it taking us 2.5 years to get to this goal or do this or whatever, it's going to take us actually 8 months or whatever. Instead of us taking 10 years, we can do this in 3 years or whatever it might be. This is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about as far as if she goes to work, it's only to make money. It ain't about you feeling good or fulfilling yourself. No, hold up. No, that's you. That's you. That's you. Now listen carefully what I'm saying. I'm saying if as a family, you're looking at the goals and what you're trying to do as a group, you have got together. You've understood where you are, what you need as a family, and where you're trying to go as a family. And based on that, you say, hey, it would be more beneficial for us, i.e., there's more money for the family and our goals if you go to work. Your feelings about working is not the number one thing. It's really not a factor compared to, hold up. No, yeah, listen, I sat there quietly. I knew you was going to say this, but I sat there quietly and listened to this. You cannot mix the way you feel and everything into before you take care of what has to be done. See, this is the thing. And I know that this thing is something that you're actually saying, well, you're trying to make the woman think like a man. No, the woman is in some instances, if she's going to actually be a helping the man. Listen, he's already spending 100% of his time and resources and energy, or let's say, I don't want to say 100%, but he's spending the significant, overwhelming majority of his resources for the goals and the bit. Now, if a man is not doing that, then okay, this goes out the window. And if he can't be trusted to do this, okay. But if it's been understood that, for instance, you're trying to buy a house. You're trying to buy a house. You're renting right now. And what type of, look at how foolish it would be. That's like how we always say, the Mexicans and the foreigners and everybody else, they will huddle together, pool their money, budget or whatever, and then 2-3 years later, they're owning this and they got that and they paid off this and they own that. It's the same thing. You got two people in a house, a husband and a wife working. The wife is talking about my money is my money, your money is my money. Meanwhile, she's jacking off all of her money and still eating your food, living in your house on everything, jerking off her money, spending. I don't care. We don't need.
But she buys a random curtain. She buys a random curtain here or there.
Or she bought the kids some toys or whatever. That's a waste of time and it's a waste of money. And if she actually had that mindset where, hey, listen, now, like Hussein said, if you want to be a person that just stays in the same spot and you don't level up, yeah, go ahead, let your wife work and let her spend her money however she wants to. If she spends it how she wants to, you're going to be in the same spot. If she spends it how you want to, y'all going to level up year after year after year after year. So hold up, now, let me just get through this because I know we've been going on almost 2 hours and I've been waiting to say this because it's different. It's uncomfortable for people to hear, but I don't care. The thing is, if she works, she should turn over 100% of the money if that's what you want her to do. Now, if she doesn't want to work, I don't think that you definitely shouldn't force him to work unless you actually need her to work. You cannot make enough money to do things and she has a skill set and she can't do it, then she should. And then she still should turn over the money to her husband. If she is committed to the family, if she's committed to, and I know you don't like that word commitment, but I don't know what other word to use. If she's committed to the family, if she's on board with the growth and the goals and the direction of the family, then she should still turn over that money. And the husband, of course, should absolutely continue to focus and direct his resources and whatever resources he has to her benefit, to the benefit of her kids, to the benefit of the family. Period. That's the way it should be. If she refuses to do it, then what you have constantly, I've seen it personally, and I've seen it in many other people. There was a story just the other day. A man, he got sick and lost his job. He was making like $1 million a year. He got sick, lost his job or whatever. His wife had, now he had to go and work extra to make up for it. He was borrowing money, this and other. His wife had like thousands of dollars in her own personal account and didn't tell him. After he got back on his feet and leveled up, she slipped up and somehow they found out or whatever. He's like, man, I was busting my tail doing all this. You had the money. Well, you know, she had that my money is my money type of thing. It's your responsibility to get us out of there. You know what he did? He divorced her ass. And he should have. He should have got her packed up and get the hell out of here. Why? Because you're just hoping you got a little money here. And it's just in case you F up, just in case you don't do, you are not successful. I have something. You cannot work with a person like that. And you shouldn't work with a person like that. A person that has their own separate golden parachute to hopefully get away if they feelings or whatever, you immediately get away from that person. If the woman is not willing to work and commit 100% of her resources to the goals that she has agreed that she wants or whatever. And then it's not saying that then she cannot still have some of that money to do what she wants. But just like the man, 100% of his resources have to be available for the family. Now, how about that? Instead of saying, okay, he spends 100% of it, 99% or whatever. Listen, a man, 100% of a man's resources must be initially, it has to be available when needed for the family, period. So I say the same thing for the woman, 100%. If you want to go get a bag or whatever, hey, you know, can I go get this bag or I want these shoes or whatever? Yeah, great. All right, go get it. But you're not going to take your time, which that's what the husband is paying for, that time and attention. When he marries that woman and when he's taking care of all of her needs, the maintenance and provide, then if she's going to take that time, just like the person who works for someone else, then while they're at work, they're working in their own business and not being productive and then keeping that money, it's the same thing. So she should turn over all her money. Now, let me go further, please, because I know listen, yes, there's more. Oh, yes, there's more. Now,
this is by the way, I'll be trying. I'll have to keep going. For y'all listening, this advice is not meant for the majority of people if you want a successful marriage and family.
Hey, listen,
I'll just say that.
If you want to be successful in this life, in this world, in this country, in this economy, if you want to be successful and you want to actually have success after
then don't get married. Then don't get married. Don't get married. But if you want a successful marriage and you want a successful family, don't take this advice.
Actually, this is the only advice you should take if you want to be comfortable. If you want to struggle your whole life, if you're happy with mediocre, then all right, just that's like turning on the heat, turning on the air conditioning, whatever, and leaving the door open. You're wasting energy, and there ain't no wasted energy around here. Now, I will say the next thing is if the woman does not agree, hey, listen, I'm not comfortable. I want to work 40 hours, 50 hours, whatever. That's fine. All right. But I don't want to give up. I don't want to give you my check. I don't want to turn my money. All right. The next step is this. If you're going to work, then your maintenance, your upkeep is all on you. So all the food that you need to eat, you got to pay for. Your rent, you got to pay for. All that, yes, out of your check. So guess what? She needs to pay rent to you. If she's living in the house, she pays rent. Yeah, listen, I'm telling you men, I'm speaking to the men out there. Y'all got to wake up. You're going to have someone making as much, maybe more than you, still eating off you, and then got a little safety net to bounce on you. And go. Meanwhile, you're actually risking. Can I ask
you and Hussein a question real quick?
Let me just finish this, and then you can say I'm gonna be done. I'm gonna be done because I want to get it all out. If she wants to work, and listen, this is for the men who are they're footing the bill for everything. But she wants to work, get maintained for, and literally keep all of her money for herself for whatever she wants to do. You must pay for yourself. So if you're living in my house, you're gonna pay rent for the room that you stay in. If you're gonna split the food bill, you're gonna pay the utilities, you're gonna do all that. If you want to say my money is my money, okay, now you're taking my time because I'm paying for everything, supporting you and the children, but you want to take your time and do something that you have agreed that you're not going to commit the resources that you're bringing in to our goals that we started out with. Okay. Then that means you need to take care of yourself because it's similar to what Jaffer is saying. Jaffer says that the woman is naturally gonna pay for this and that and other. Okay, so it's the same thing, but now I'm putting something tangible on it. I'm tying it to something instead of it just letting be up in the wind. Because a woman might one day she feels like this and one day she feels like that. How many times? Okay, you're driving her car. Sometimes when she gets mad at you, she takes her keys. This stuff. So you're subject to all types of stuff. If you don't want to say, listen, I'm going to commit 100% of my resources to be available for the family's goals so that we can level up, then if you don't want to do that, all the maintenance is on you. So she loses her. I would tell her straight up, if you're going to work, then no, you don't get your days. If you got more than one wife, say, if you want to work, but it's not going to be committed to the family, then don't say, well, this is my day, my time. You want to work and spend your time working and keep the money? No time. You get to whatever time I give you is because you're spending your time. I'm not going to agree to any time. I'm not going to agree to any maintenance. I'm not going to agree to any of that. If you can't spend your time working for the family, then you don't get the time. You just get whatever may or may not be available. Just like you can decide, maybe I might help the family out. Maybe I might not. Well, maybe I might not spend time with you. Maybe I will. Maybe I might pay for your bills or whatever. Maybe I won't. It's going to be a maybe for me too. That's what I would suggest men do, that have a woman who wants to work but does not want to commit that time that she's spending, that she's taking away from the family, away from the kids, away from the things that you might want her to do. Maybe you might need her on a day or night, but she's at work. And she doesn't have no problem saying yes, sir, no, sir, right away, sir, to her boss. But for you, it's saying, So that's what I say. Now, if the only thing that I would say, now, let me just say this. I know we're going long. After all that, I will say that she should be, for the woman, because the woman, well, what the heck does a woman get out of that? She's going to give all her time, because this is what I'm hearing. She's going to give all her time and energy. She's going to give 100% of her check to her husband. And then what if he divorces her? He gives all the money, and then all of a sudden he's going to treat her wrong. Well, it's going to be fair for the woman. Then, yes, she should have full access to the ins and outs, the transactions, debits and credits, or whatever in the account. If she is contributing her money, then she should be able to see exactly where and how the money is flowing in and out. And she should have a say-so. Is she the final decision maker? No. But she should have a say-so in how the money is spent. If she is contributing her money, then yes, she gets a right to see what's going on and have access to the money. Now, if people's going to say, what if she gets divorced? What if she leaves? That way you have to set it up to where, if it's one of my daughters, I would say that money, the money that she contributes to the overall goals of the family, you can either agree that the assets, whatever, if it's assets that are being purchased, or you can just say, listen, if this man decides to divorce her for whatever reason, then it's the money that you're giving to the family could be looked at as a loan. And you can say, well, this is a loan. I'm loaning you this. Just 1 second. I'll be done in 1 second. I'm loaning you this $4,000, $6,000, $10,000 a month that I'm making. This is a loan, and you can agree. And if you're a husband, if you're honest and you're dedicated, you're gonna say, well, it's a loan, and that the loan will become due if you divorce me, or if I die, maybe he might try to kill you. Hopefully not. But if I die, then it's going to be forgiven. But the point is that the woman can set it up to where you don't have to say, well, I'm just giving it and I'm going to go broke. You can set it up to where in the agreement, either premarital agreement or the agreement when you go to work. Yes, I'm going to work and I'm going to give you the money. But if you decide, well, now that I've built this mansion or whatever, now this house is worth $20 million. Now I can just divorce her and marry a young girl and I'm chilling. No, what you can say is that, yeah. And I would say I'm not in agreement that people should ever mix like a man. If he's paying for everything, he should never put his wife's name on anything. But if the woman she's contributing 100%, she's putting her money in, then absolutely she gets to put her name on any assets that are acquired. She should do that. And that's a protection for her. So it's not that I'm saying that the woman puts in 100%, no benefits or whatever, but if she's going to spend her time working, then she needs to contribute 100% of the money to the overall goals. That doesn't mean she can't spend any money, but if she doesn't want to do that, then she has to maintain and provide for herself. That's the only thing that I would ever agree to. After what I've experienced and seen and understood from looking at my situation and others, I would never agree to anything but 100% of the funds that you make if you're working, because especially I don't need you to work, but this would help us. 100% of the funds go in. If you don't want to do that, you got to take care of your own self, period. Everything, even some socks and underwear, toilet paper, you got to buy it. And if she does, she gets access to the account. She gets to see what's going on, put her name on the things. The only thing that I have not completely settled on is the fact that if that first wife, if the wife is doing all these things for a certain number of years, and then that husband wants to get a second wife, then that can complicate things greatly. So this is not something that is actually set up for adding. The agreement would have to be that takes a lot to add another wife in there because it complicates things. But if you got one wife, or you already have two wives, and you come in with this agreement, and you decide, okay, y'all two gonna go to work. If a person got 2 or 3 wives, and they all go to work and actually take all that money, give it to their husband, they work towards the goals or whatever, and just say it like this, these people would be millionaires. They'll be wealthy. They probably wouldn't even have to work anymore after about 3-4 years. But everybody's so worried about my money is my money, they wind up losing in life. Anyway, that's my whole spiel. I know this took a long time, but you got it. Go ahead.
I gotta condense it because I'm sure Joffrey got a bunch of questions. We're gonna have to skip the questions or skip our thoughts for the most part because we need to get on down the road. This joint is running long, and I'm sure we got some spicy questions. But 3 things. The first thing is what you're saying right here, Mubarak, is a very unpopular thought or belief, and inside of that, we have to make sure it's in line with what we believe as Muslims, what we're commanded to do. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing. Of course, we can feel however we want to feel. We already know that women are not going to get held accountable for all of that foolishness that they be doing, under the umbrella or under the guise of, I'm getting women, my money, we already know they're not going to be held to that. So trying to pin them down is going to be difficult. Most men don't have this level of understanding about the nature of women when it comes to this type of stuff. And what Mubarak, Mubarak, I know for a fact that you can hold everything down 100% in any of your houses, correct?
Yeah.
Right? Joffrey.
Yeah. And I always say that 100%, I was of the mindset that 100%, you never ask a woman for any money. She should never turn over any of her money if she works or if she doesn't, whatever. If she inherited some money from her daddy or she came with a bunch of money, whatever, I don't care about that. After we're married, she's working, then I say a man is taking a huge L if that time and energy it's being spent, where it's not actually benefiting the family.
I agree 100%. Let me ask Jaffer real quick. Jaffer, are you taking care of 100%? Are you capable of taking care of 100%? Has that been what you've been doing for the last million years? Taking care of 100%?
Not now, no. Ever since I got divorced, I've been relying on my current wife for the last 6 years. I've always been.
Wait, you mean relying? Like if she tails off, then you guys are going to struggle? Is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah.
Definitely. Okay. That's cool. Me personally, I deal with 100% of everything. I've been doing this for a long time. I do have a situation where my wife trusts me 100%. We've had these type of conversations. And in the context of what you was talking about, Mubarak, about the wife turning over 100%, once again, if you have a wife with that level, that mindset, it's very, very workable. You don't even have to do 100%. You can then tell her, let's say like 70%. You keep 70% or 30% for yourself. 70% goes into this X, Y, and Z. And I definitely agree with what Mubarak is saying. If you have a wife that's willing and she's capable and able to do that, I've seen this firsthand, and I actually have experience with this firsthand. You will have success. To level up. It's very important to understand a lot of people are okay with the status quo. They will say out of their mouth, oh man, I want this. The actions aren't indicative to that which they saying that they want. The wives do this all the time too. Oh, I want a house. I want a this. Oh, when are you going to a new car? But her actions are not reflective of what she's saying out of her mouth. because instead of doing what Mubarak was saying, she's going to go get some curtains. She'll go get a new couch. But yet she's saying, oh, I want a new car. I want a new house. When are we going to get a bigger house? So what I'm basically saying is those things have to match they have to match up. And a lot of times they do not match up. I think we're all capable men here. I think that, or I believe we do not need any of our wife's money per se. We're not going to fall off the face of the earth if we don't get our wife's money, but it's a better workable system if the wife comes under your umbrella and funnels the money up for the sake and the greater good of the family. This is true, and I'm currently experiencing it right now. Not saying that my wife works or anything, because she doesn't, but whenever she gets money, she always comes to me. If she gets it from anywhere, she comes to me, Hussein, I got this X amount of money. What do you think that we should do? What do you think the best direction? I would like to do this. What do you think about this? And then I say, okay, this is what we're going to do. X, Y, Z, Y. And this has been very, very, very effective. And I've been doing this for 17 years. So just put that out there. But I'm sure you got a lot to say.
Okay. So first of all, for all you guys out there that have the same personalities as Hussein and Mubarak, that strategy may work with you. And if you have a specific type of woman that mostly actually doesn't live in America, that might work for you. Okay. Second of all, leadership, being a husband, being a father, whatever you want to say, they all have the same qualities. And there's different types. Your personality works into how you lead. Now, the scenario that Mubarak gave about the husband, this guy was going through all this medical problems or whatever and needed money, had to fundraise and all that. And then he found out that his wife actually had all this money in the bank that she didn't help out at all. I bet you he's the same type of husband as Mubarak was, and was married to a certain type of woman that was like, she didn't have his trust, because what Mubarak is explaining to you is basically, if y'all know these terms, it's very transactional. I work this much, you give me this much. I work for 10 hours, you pay me this much. It's a transactional relationship, right? Marriages and how you determine what the success of a marriage is, what the success of a family is, goes way beyond financial achievements, which you spent maybe 30 minutes explaining that you want to level up, you want to buy a house, you want to do this and do that, but you actually didn't speak about to the main reasons why you get married. Because if your purpose, if your goal, let me finish, if your goal as a man is to level up financially, don't get married till you get to where you want to be at. The reason why we get married and the purpose of marriage, and how, because I know y'all can even answer this, you don't go to your marriage or your household and measure the success of your marriage or the success of your family by your financial achievements. Because we can go to someone in poverty right now that doesn't level up that you have or the next person have, and you could look at their marriage and look at their family and be like, no, I'm going to finish this, because you went on a whole, like almost a half hour really spewing, I have to say this, hope you don't get offended, garbage, hot garbage that is going to get a lot of people in trouble, because the way that a person reacts in a relationship is largely based off of how you treat them. And as men being leaders of the family, and women naturally, instinctively, on their fitra, being followers, they are going to react how you lead them. So if you are married specifically to a woman that has been raised and cultured in this Western society, and if you come in with a very transactional leadership style, they will react accordingly. Okay, so now if you want to be an effective leader, if you want to be an effective husband, you want to be an effective father, one, you have to first identify what you are, what you value, and how you do things. If you are a person that is limited in the way that you lead, and the way that you perceive things, and the way that you value things, you have to find, if like, for instance, if you're a coach that coaches a certain type of style, you have to find players that fit in that style. That's your best chance for success. If you end up with, you see this all the time, teams, a coach, he's winning with this team. As soon as they start getting new players on the team, they start losing. No, I need my players. And what do? They drop down to the college level because they need to recruit the specific type of player they need. So it's very important after you recognize and you have some self-awareness of who and what you are, that you take stock of that. If you're limited in your leadership ability or your capability or skills, or the strategies that you can use to win, then make sure you get players that fit into that system. Now, I will challenge all men. If you really want to be an effective husband and an effective leader, right? The first thing that I suggest that you do is that do not look at marriage, do not prioritize for marriage what you're getting out of marriage. Prioritize and value what you actually bring to the marriage. And if you really want to be an effective leader, the most effective leaders are those that can get, pay attention to this, this is key, an involuntary following. Not an involuntary, a voluntary following. That is when you know you are an effective leader. I don't want to toot my own horn here, right? I actually manage people day to day on a day-to-day basis for years. I am in charge of people. I lead them. They have to do what I say no matter what. If they don't, they're getting fired. Because of my learning, my skills, or whatever, I don't want to, I'm not trying to, but I don't currently, in my situation, I don't have to tell them to do anything. Nothing. And the best way to get that voluntary following is that, one, you have to treat them, one, as an individual. Recognize their skill sets. Recognize what they can do. Recognize what motivates them. Recognize what they value. Two, you have to be adaptable. You have to be able to employ different types of leadership tactics and styles when they are most suitable. If I went to my people that work for me, or even in my marriage, and say, hey, I paid you X amount of dollars so that you can get this bag. I need you to do this in return for that. That person that I'm doing that with is going to, oh, this is how this person functions. And you will get a behavior based off of that. So if your goal in marriage, again, I'll repeat this and I'll end out here. If your goal in marriage is strictly financial, then that's all you're going to get. That's all you're going to get. And when you're sick, right, and your wife, maybe she didn't work, right, and she got a large inheritance from her father, and she could have paid your debts off. She's like, well, that's not my responsibility. I don't have to do that. That's not, he didn't pay for that. He didn't pay for me to pay for his medical bills. But if you go beyond that transactional mindset and you actually gain trust from your partner, you gain buy-in, you start giving them value out of their relationship, because most women aren't looking for financial returns in a marriage. That's not how they value things, right? That's not how they value things. When they bring it to a financial aspect, when you have a woman complaining about, oh, he's not taking care of this and that when she's got everything she needs, it's really translated into like, he doesn't care about me. He doesn't value me. So I'll end it there, and that you guys.
Let me say this. Okay.
But
Jaffer, now respectfully, you were just saying some word solid again. And first of all, about the transactional thing, realistically, every union, every marriage is transactional. Now, if you want to shrink, if you want to shrink it down to finances, that's your business. But to say that a marriage is not transactional, it's not true at all, because you are expecting something.
Yes, there are transactional aspects.
Yeah, I know that.
I said you do not measure the success of a marriage off of just the financial aspects of it.
And I don't think anybody who is just, I'm going to marry this person for finances. I don't think most people marry specifically just for finances. I mean, it would make much sense.
Right.
Because you're marrying.
So why are you basing the success of it off of finances?
No, there's plenty of other different areas. We're talking about this particular topic on this show. This is what we were talking about.
No, see that's the problem. That's the problem. You view a woman working as strictly transactional. That's a very limited mindset. Very limited.
Are we in a marriage?
Yes.
Oh, go ahead, Mubarak.
I'll just say that I'm so disappointed in my chef. I'm just so disappointed that number one, he broke his rule. This is one thing I learned from him, is not veering from the topic. And this man has veered. I'm talking about has swerved all over the road, gone off road. He's off in the bushes somewhere. The topic of the show is, should you let your wife work or not? So I am, like I said, I have never been a person who has, even when I probably should have or could have, or been offered. I've never taken a penny from a wife for anything. Never. Always paid 100%. And I believe that is the best way for a marriage to work. The best way, if you want to just say, how can I have a marriage where I'm happy and I don't have any issues in it? Most people, it's where the man works, he makes some money, and the wife does not work. That's the best setup. But if we're gonna say, should your wife work or not? Should you allow your wife work or not? Now what we're talking about is, if we're talking about working, it's about finances. And finances.
No, it's not. No, that's where you're wrong. Go look up. You got the shirt on, peer reviewed. Go look up why most women work.
And this is
Go look up why most women work.
Hang on. Listen. It's about my opinion and what I'm giving. It's not about that. This is what I'm advising men. It's not about how you feel. It's a terrible idea, actually, to say, I want my wife to go out and work, to go and mix and mingle with men and go and do this because of how that is how she feels fulfilled. If that is what will make your wife fulfilled, there's an issue. There's an issue there. But
yeah, there's an issue with all Western women. Yes.
No, I don't necessarily believe that.
No, because you said that they was great, Jaffer. You said that all Western women.
If that's the issue, that's what most Western women, the average woman, right? When she wants to work, you're talking about a kept woman, a woman in a situation where she actually doesn't have to work. In most cases, if you have a woman that says, I want to work, the reason why is because she's lacking fulfillment somewhere. This is why I said you have to. If you can't provide that, if you can't provide her that fulfillment out of working, then maybe the best answer is that she goes and gets a job.
I think that is very dangerous if the wife says, "Listen, I need to be fulfilled by going to work. It's not about money, X, Y." Then she can volunteer. She can volunteer somewhere if it's not about money. Volunteer that way, you don't have to show up. That way, you don't have a boss over her telling her, right here, sir, bring me a cup of coffee. Blah,
if she
blah,
volunteers somewhere, it's going to be some boss is going to tell her what to do.
No, because she can say, listen, I'm a volunteer, nigga, I'm out. That's why.
She can do that at her job.
No. Well, listen.
I'm done. Go ahead.
You went to successful marriage. What marriage is about? We're talking about a very specific niche, a very specific topic within a marriage that may or may not be something that even comes across the mind of some people, some marriages. If you decide this specific thing, my advice for a man who is fitting all the bills, if you decide, and so this was just thrown out, if you sit down and you have decided that these are the goals for the family, and it would benefit to get us there for you to work. If the goal of the family is for you to be fulfilled, I mean, and you got to work to do that. I mean, hey, listen, yes, that is someone that's not going to be for me. And guess what?
For you.
These women, yes. And guess what? Most of these women running around, leaving their husbands, jumping in and out of marriages, getting divorced, cheating, going on girls' trips, they're all trying to get fulfilled. That's what they're doing. And I'm not saying that every wife that goes and gets a job for fulfillment is doing that. But as Jaffer likes to say, the majority or a lot of the problems in marriages stem from that.
That's not true. That's not true.
No. Okay, listen. True. But anyway, like I said, this is not even the top of the show. The top of the show is should you allow your wife to work or not? You have to look at what's the reason why she's working. If I say the only reason why your wife should work and go and take a career in a field is so that it can benefit the family
financially.
What other reason does a person? Hold up. What other reason does a person go and give away their time except for you to then get money? That's what it's about, money. If you want to be fulfilled,
do you get paid? Do you get paid at the masjid?
There are plenty. You're making my point. There are plenty of better ways to find fulfillment. A person might think, hey, I want to work to find fulfillment, but guess what? There's better ways. You need to find a better way to be fulfilled. You need to increase your knowledge and understanding of Islam. Do something else. But if you're going to work, then yes, you need to be working because they pay you. Otherwise, listen, we're just going to disagree. I don't think a person should say, I want to be fulfilled, so therefore I'm going to go and start working. If you're going to work, then you better be bringing in some money. If you're going to be taking your time away from your family, away from your kids, away from your husband, the trade-off is that you can then use that money to better your life, to better your situation. If that's not the goal, I strongly advise any husband to not let their wife work. The harms from that are far outweigh the benefit because you're not even actually getting the money from it. You're just spinning your tail. Now you're cooking dinner. Now you're babysitting the kids. Now maybe you can't go to work. You know what? And it happens. A man might say, you know what? I would work overtime, but my wife got to work today and there's nobody to watch the kids. So he can't even go and make the money that's actually going to go towards the goals while she's off working because he got to babysit the kids. I know we've been talking a long time about this. I mean, Jaffa jumped all the way around, took it all the way around the thing, left the topic at hand, and then I'll just say this last thing. And I'm not even y'all don't even need to answer. But think about this. He talked about building trust and blah, blah, blah. If you can trust your wife, just let her work and don't hold her accountable for any standards as far as what you're gonna do with the time or the money or whatever. Is it gonna help the family or not? Hold up.
You're muted.
Last thing.
You're muted, Johnson. Johnson, you're muted.
I'm gonna say this. He talked about trust. Yeah, I can't hear you for some reason. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's good that you're muted. That way you can't jump in. Listen, I'll just say this. Jaffa said.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay.
He said that it's because the wife who she held on to her money or whatever when her husband was drowning is because she didn't trust him and is a person like me. Now listen, who do you think has more trust between that husband and a wife when the husband can come in and the wife says, hey, listen, I'm going to work. I'm making $10K a month here. Here you go. Put in your account. Bam. Don't even think about it. Or the person who their wife says, hey, baby, put your money in my account. And she says, no, I'm not doing that.
Framing it wrong.
So the way he's looking at it, he thinks it's a thing where he's saying, hey, give me that money. She's like, oh, okay, here you go. No.
That's exactly what you just told our listeners. You said, don't let your wife work unless she gives you all the money.
Yeah, that should be the standard.
Yeah, so that is literally saying a wife says, hey, honey, I want to get a job.
No, that's not saying that.
And then the husband says, you can get a job, but you got to give me all the money.
No, the first thing it would either be, why do you want to get a job? Why do you even want to work? It's been plenty of times where I said, and I said, no, you don't need to work. But I'm saying it would either be, why do you want to work? Okay, if you're going to work and you're going to take your time away from what we're doing here, then I will give you.
Okay, so let me ask you this one last question. Your wife comes to you and says, I'm depressed. I went to school and got this degree doing XYZ. I could take care of my home responsibilities. I could find a babysitter for the kids to make sure that's all done. I simply just want to work because I'll find fulfillment and value. I'll be much happier if I just get a job and I have my own money and I could do what I want. What do you say to your wife?
I'm going to say, if you want to do that, okay. Here's my banking account number and routing number. When you go to onboarding at the job, put that information on for direct deposit. And then you can't see any negative ramifications between your relationship and your wife from doing that. I thought it was about you wanting to be fulfilled. You're going to work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not about the money, right?
Also about she wants money for herself too. She wants to do her own thing with her own money.
So you want money? All right. Well, if you want money, ask for it.
I want to earn my own money. That gives me fulfillment.
Okay. Hold on.
So you're earning your own money, but it's going to go in my account. What's the point? Well, what's the problem?
Okay.
What's the problem? No, I'm asking. What's the problem with that?
There may not be a problem with it, but I'm telling you,
I'm still going to spend it on her. I'm still going to spend it on her.
I'm telling you what you responding to her that way. She's asking you for something that's going to make her happier in her life, and you're pretty much saying no, unless you give me all the thing that is going to show you the reward for your happiness.
Because your time and your energy is something that that's why I got a wife in the first place. It's not so I can have sex with someone randomly and then I
got a wife in the first place for your time.
Yes. Otherwise, so what does a person get married for? Why even have a wife? That's what I said. Listen.
And this is why you said I went all over the place, but you guys missed the point. You see how I touched on all these things. Why would a person get married? Why would a person get married?
Because
exactly. That's why we're back to the beginning. When you're getting married, establish who you are and what you want. And if you want success, in my recommendation, like I said, if you want success, it'll lead down the road of all the rest of your decisions in the marriage, is to identify this first up and foremost. And if you are getting married for what you get out of that transaction, then make sure you focus on that and make sure you get someone that could fit in that.
No, because you're running too far. Listen, you got married for one reason. When your wife said, I want to work, this is changing the dynamics. Now, if you get married, she's already working, and then you have to establish what that's going to look like. But for your wife to come to you and say, well, now I want to start working, or I want to work, or whatever, that doesn't mean, well, I got married because of this certain transaction. No, it's part of it. And if you don't factor in the energy that you're putting in, there's one thing that you don't get back. You don't get back time. And you're not going to be able. You're definitely going to take longer because we're talking about working. And Jaffer might be talking about something else. But when you say, should you let your wife work or not? To me, I'm looking at it as when you work, you get money. And so otherwise people won't work. Now, if someone wants,
is that the only thing you get from your job, from working, Mubarak?
Okay, listen.
I mean, that's such a limited way of looking at something. That's such a limited way.
No, it's not a limited way, because guess what? You don't live to work. You don't live to work. You live for other things. You work because you have to. You work because you need to.
You can't generalize your own reasons for doing something onto everybody else.
Majority of people work because they have to work. They're not working because they want some fulfillment or they like it. They work because they have to work. Now, I'm listening to you, brothers. Now, listen, I'm going to agree with Mubarak. I'm going to actually agree with Mubarak on this. And I think I want to just kind of condense it a little bit. I know we keep saying we've been talking long. This is the last thing I'm going to say, and I'm going to let y'all rock. We need to get to these questions. Basically, Mubarak is saying, if you decide that you want to work, remember, I'm taking care of everything. When we got married, you weren't working. You come and you decide that you want to work for fulfillment or whatever. He's saying, if you make a decision and he gives you authorization to do it, because you still got to get the permission from your husband, he gives you authorization, it needs to be for the greater good and betterment of the family success. That's what he's saying. And now, if you decide that you want to work for a different reason, to be some stipulations in place. And I actually agree with that, because you are taking away from the family, but then you're masking it like, oh no, I'm doing this for the family. And then if you're doing it for the family, then you would have no problem with the stipulations that's placed on that situation, because you're doing it for the family. So that's that one part. And the other part is, I lost my train of thought. But basically, I actually agree with Mubarak right there, because it creates structure and it pins someone down and it holds their feet to the fire and it holds them accountable. that's what I was about to say. Another thing that we're not talking about is if you allow your wife, grant her permission, she has some skill set, you grant her permission to go out into the workforce. I actually have a problem with that. I would prefer my wife to do like a home-based or online job to where she's protected and she's covered. I'm not comfortable with her going outside of the house, interacting with men in all these different scenarios and situations that are not favorable. They're not favorable and they're not conducive for a woman usually. You know, if a man gets a flat tire, what do? We get out the car and we fix the flat tire. Your wife gets a flat tire, you are then called from work. She's going to have to call you, or hopefully you guys got AAA. If not, can you come? My tire's flat. Then you got to go run over there. So there's a lot of different situations. We're not even going to discuss the pressure. If your woman is attractive, the amount of pressure she's going to receive in said environments. Mm-hmm. That's not conducive for a woman. So me personally, I would be more comfortable with, and I have no issue with it. If you want to go and work an online job or you want to do this, I've told my wife, I said, listen, I'm cool with you working if you want to do that, but your responsibilities to your family cannot tail off. They cannot take a dip at all. If you're willing to take on more, you feel what I'm saying? And let's say you, like, I just want to work so I can just get my nails painted. You don't pay for my nails and my hair every week, which I'm not going to do. You know, you need to be comfortable with your own nails and your own hair, just like the rest of us. If you say that that's something that you want to do, that's fine. I am not going to support that in that way to where, oh, you go pay, work your nails painted and stuff. Meanwhile, you're not making dinner consistently. The children ain't getting taken care of with their diapers and stuff and clothing, but you out somewhere off to see the wizard working for some fulfillment of some nails or something. Meanwhile, you got guys hitting all on you, getting after. No, that's not. So I agree with Mubarak because, again, at least you're pinning them down and it has to be structure. If you want to go and work because you want to be happy or whatever, I'm going to say no, personally. You need to figure out some other ways to fulfill yourself. Go to the masjid or go over here, take up a little, poetry class or something if you want to be fulfilled. But if you want to go out into the workforce and make money, no, there's going to need to be some structure to the man's leadership and umbrella. I'll just say that. That's my position.
Yeah, take a poetry class. I'll just say this, man. Listen, I know this got a little bit intense, man. Jafar came in my neck a little bit, but it's all good, man. I was expecting some serious pushback on this, and I understand that for every man cannot do it. You can't do it, but I just would say I would caution men that if you have the savvy skills like Jimmy here, who can talk his way in or out of anything, then yeah, that plan might work for you, where you can talk to your wife to where she be thinking that your idea is actually her idea, she be doing all that. But for us normal people, man, listen, go with what is tangible, and you have to try to maximize your time and your energy. It's not for everybody, but for me, I would say if I could do it over, if I could go back 20 years, I would say, and for any of my sons, I'll say this real quick and I'll be done, I promise you. For any of my sons or my daughters, actually, if they got married, I would tell them, get married and avoid having any kids for the first maybe 2, 3, 4 years. And if they can work, they should work. And they should, get themselves a good starting point. And then after that, if they are working, they should go with this exact plan, work together, pool their resources. And then that way, a lot of the things that people want to do later on in life, they will be able to do earlier and easier and live a comfortable life. Will everything be perfect? No. But if we're talking about working, we're talking about finances, we're talking about resources. If we're talking about finances, the best way to level up is to come together, work together, compound your resources so that you'll get to the goal faster. Doing it Jafar's way, you might be a little happier in the beginning doing it that way. Maybe it might sustain, but doing it my way might be a little tougher. But as far as the goals are concerned, you'll reach there a whole heck of a lot faster. And Jabbar and his wife might be, or Jabbar and his, I won't say Jabbar and his wife, but the people who listen to him are going to be coming to you to borrow money or to live in your house or to borrow your car or for you to fund the Hajj trip or whatever it might be. Meanwhile, y'all struggled in the beginning. Y'all worked together. You put your money in his account. Now y'all chilling. And y'all go to Umrah every year or whatever. Meanwhile, they trying to figure out how it makes it work. But they're happy. And she's fulfilled. She's working 60 hours a week, very fulfilled, in
happy wife, happy life.
Anyway, yeah.
So I'll give my final thoughts on this, and we'll get to the question. So, my position on as far as your wife working, the general default should be that you want your wife in the home. The best place for your wife is to be in the home, right? And the other general default is that you should, for your own internal expectations and internal planning or whatever regarding your family, as far as taking finances, you should only count on your income, right? Whatever your financial goals are, as far as you want to level up, right? Level up this way, whatever, financially, economically, you should put yourself in a position where that you do not have to rely on anybody else's money besides your own wife, children, or whatever.
I agree.
The other part of that is, so if you can get in that environment, that's going to be the best success for your marriage and your marital success, your family success on all levels. The next thing is, if your wife says, "I want to come work," you do what Mubarak said. Why do you want to work? What's the purpose? And you have to assess whether this is beneficial for your family and your marriage, right? And you will find, depending on the type of woman you're married, especially if you're married to a woman that's been brought up in the West, you will find that this idea of working and the benefits that you get from working, they actually extend beyond financial, right? And if you find out, okay, if I prevent my wife from working, it's actually going to be more detrimental to our family and our relationship and all that. It has nothing to do with finances, right? At this point, right? We're not talking about finances, right? It may be financial, but that's a different discussion, right? Because if you're in a situation where you're actually taking care of everything and you're relying on your own finances to level up and all that, and your wife comes to ask you for work, if she says, "Okay, I want to work because I'm going to find fulfillment in helping with our financial goals," then you have to look at it like that. Okay, you know what? I need to set some parameters. If this is the purpose, then I'm going to, we need to make sure we get to that as fast as possible, because it's better for you actually to be home, right? If it's some reason that, okay, she's got depression, she's being a total B when you get home because whatever reason, I got this degree and I'm not using it, I could do this and that, and it's causing whatever the scenario you can come up with, like, okay, something has to change with her to make this family work, to make this relationship work. Then you have to assess that, and if you don't need the money and the goal isn't financially related, don't take a dime from her. She'll spend on you anyway, and if she doesn't, it doesn't matter because you weren't relying on it. But you're achieving the other goal of, okay, she's happy, she's taking care of her other responsibilities, the house is happy, we have a good meal, that reason. But for the most part, you have to assess it individually, right? And you have to look at the type of person you're married to. But the default should be, especially since we're Muslims, right? The default should be is that if she's asking for fulfillment or whatever, right? Like Mubarak said, okay, well, you could volunteer. You could use your graphic design art by designing flyers for the masjid. Well, I want to get paid for it. Okay, well, you could do that from home. There's different ways you could get her to satisfy her fulfillment, right? To get that part. But assess what the goal is, and then once you achieve that goal, if that goal is actually beneficial to what your expectations are with the family, with your relationship, right? And the goal for a marriage is to have a successful marriage and remain married. But there are times where, like, depending on how you react to that, the woman saying, "I want to work," if you don't react to it accordingly, it's going to change the dynamic of your relationship no matter what your answer is. If you don't react according and assess it right. There is no set rule of this is what you should do or this is what you shouldn't do. Because even with Mubarak's advice, if you say, okay, if it's a financial goal, you got to give me 100%. Depending on the individual, that person now is going to, wait, why does he want 100%? Or if you have a great relationship and she's like, assess it individually. But again, I'll just say this. The best way forward is that you rely on your own finances and you keep your wife at home. That's the best way. Even if she does, if she's not getting fulfillment, but that fulfillment is not dropping to the negative of the overall picture, then hey, maybe this is just something that you're gonna have to struggle with for the rest of your life. Like, we all have our things, right? So it is. Men want to be richer. I'd be richer if I just drop all these kids and wives off on the corner. Like, I'm on my own now. But that's not going to give me my, you know what I'm saying? It's not going to give me the other stuff that I want. So you have to think about it like that. Geez, we got questions.
Hey, no, hold on, guys. Yeah, before we get to the questions, can we please answer these things swiftly? I don't want the questions to take a whole nother hour.
No, we got 10 seconds each to give our input.
All right, and if we don't need to give input, we don't need to. If someone already answers it sufficiently, let's do it.
Gotcha. The only expectation we have is for men to take care of us according to what we're accustomed to, considering his means. I think maybe you are all not choosing women wisely. What are the expectation of a wife at home that also works full time and contributing a large portion of that income to the household? So it was a statement there that the only expectation for men is to take care of us according to his means. And the question is, what are the expectations of a wife who works full time and contributes to like the household income? What are her home expectations?
I would say that the home expectation, if she is working full time or whatever, or significantly, then the husband should contribute to the things that she normally would have been doing at home. So if it's cleaning and taking care of kids, babysitting, just like I mentioned, like, you know, he might have to watch the kids because she's working on things like that. So yeah, it shouldn't be a thing where she has a full-time job at home taking care of the house and working full-time if she's contributing. Now, also, if she's not contributing, she says, listen, my money is my money, I don't want to give you the money, whatever, then the work at home is still the work at home. So whatever if you're not going to contribute that money, then you still got to come back and get your backside in the kitchen, get on the vacuum, do all that stuff, because this is what he's paying for. If the man is paying 100%, that's if the man is paying 100% of everything, he's paying for her to take care of the home, inside the home. He takes care of outside the home and brings the resources in. She takes those resources and makes a home. Now, if she's going to work, not put the money into the family pot, we give it to the husband so he can take care of the family, what he's normally doing, then yeah, she still has to do all of her homework. And you know, if she's sleepy at work or whatever because she's been up all night taking care of the house, then that's her problem, because she's not spending the money, she's keeping the money. So, you know, that's what I see with
that's been my position for the last 20-30 episodes we've done. That's still my position. If you want to go get your nails and stuff painted, you are free to do that, but the responsibilities at the house cannot tail off. I don't care if you work in a double-double. I do not care. If it's not for the sake of the family, no, then we're not doing that. Now, in her question, she's saying she is contributing heavily, and she's working full time. So yes, in this situation, in my opinion, the man is lacking. He needs to pick up the slack. He needs to get some things going, and kind of create a more balanced dynamic there. So. We're good. Let's get to the next.
No, I'll just say real quick, people out there, you have to understand there's a difference between like can and should, right? So the question for the man is like, okay, if she's contributing, and like Mubarak said, you don't actually need the money, and she's not contributing, but she's working, right? And the real question that I think she's asking is, should a man, right, help out with her responsibility? Yeah, he should, to be a good husband and just say this and that. But no, I would say should. He can. I had it backwards. He can, to show that, oh, I'm going to help you. I love you and this and that. And I can do this. It's charity, right? But the problem is that they think like, oh, well, since this is a good thing, now it becomes an expectation. And they're like, oh, no, I went to work for 8 hours today. You got to have dinner ready. No, that's a problem you don't want to be into.
Yeah. First is, oh, thank you for cooking dinner. I got home late. Oh, thanks. I really appreciate it too. Why didn't you cook dinner? You couldn't cook dinner.
Yeah,
I'm not doing that.
Exactly. If a woman works and still does her best to keep up with the house and kids, but is not able to get as much done as a stay-at-home wife, is she dropping the ball? I think that ties right into the question we just got, was pretty much, if you are working and your husband's relying on it and it's like an agreed upon thing, like you're working to help out, then he should also help you out wherever he can. Like that's where the part. But if you're just working just for yourself and this is like pretty much a hobby for you, right, that you get paid for, you still have your responsibility. I have hobbies, right? We might go to the gym and play basketball. We still got to get up in the morning and go to work.
Jaffer,
right?
The reason why me and Mubarak were trying to pin them down is because of this exact question. So listen how the question is framed. If, go to work, blah, 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 blah. The woman, a lot of times, she believes in her mind that she's going to work, and buying the latest toy is actually required for the family. No, and I'm just keeping it a buck.
It's true. It's true.
Buying the latest toy, or, oh, you didn't get them a laptop. They need a laptop instead of a TV. That's not a necessity, but you convincing your brain, I got to go do these things because my husband can't get them done. My husband is not putting money. So we got to be real careful, because women are slithery like this, and they'll try to make it seem like, oh, I got to work. And in reality, you don't really have to work. What are we talking about? Keep a roof over your head. Make sure you got cell phone, internet, the necessities prepared. And if the husband says, no, we don't need no laptop right now, the kids need a laptop. You know what I mean? And then they go, and I'm just saying, this is what they do. And then they go trying to make it seem like, use that as an excuse or a mirth to tell off on their duties inside of the home, because they are contributing, because you didn't buy them a pair of shoes this week. You know what I mean? They bought the pair of shoes. I'm doing his responsibilities. And they are real slithery like this. So just want to be careful.
Women, if you want a successful marriage, the probably one of the biggest things you could do in a marriage is find a way to be content with your husband's means, right? What he could provide with his means, and just expect that. If you could find a way to do that, you would find so much happiness in your marriage if you could do that.
No, Jaffer, you're making way too much sense. That's too realistic. It's too practical. No, I'm serious. It really is. They're not going to do that. They have these expectations, and they'll convince themselves that you're dropping the ball, even though you're taking care of things. It's just not what they lifestyle that they might want to live, or they have a fantasy of. They seen something on TikTok or watch the Kardashians or something, and then they want you to, kind of fill in that space, and it just creates a problem. And then they convince themselves that they to work.
Yeah.
They go buy the kids a bunch of, I bought them all swimming suits, because it's summertime or whatever. I'm like, my swimming suit is just some basketball shorts. You don't need them.
You need the special lining with the tropical trees on it.
I'm like, it's like, but they'll factor some random thing they bought as, I'm helping to take care of the household.
Exactly.
I am contributing. See, look, I have this is benefiting everybody. When it's like, my thing is, nobody asked you to do that.
Our next question. Majority of women, when she has money, she is alleviating some responsibility of the husband, whether that's picking up a bill, buying groceries, clothing for her and the children. All this is the husband's responsibility. All this is the responsibility of the husband that she is helping with. So not really a question.
That ties right back into what we just said. Have a conversation with the husband. Communication is huge. Okay. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times women will go out and get certain stuff instead of just having a conversation. Oh, I needed to get 2 dresses. Communicate with me, say, honey, dear, babe, whatever you call them, habibi, whatever. I'm short on clothes. Can we go out and get a couple of things? More than likely, depending on your relationship, the man is not going to deny you. He's going to say, okay, what time? Or I'm busy this week. I'm just saying, this has been my experience. I don't think he's going to be like, well, no, shut. And if he even says, no, not right now, You wait maybe a little bit of time, not too much. Come back at them and say, I know you said no last time. Let me know when you'll be able to facilitate this. But what women do is they go out and they put all this magical stuff on their plate to act like they're really killing it and holding it down, when in reality, it don't even be necessary. And it ties back into what you just said, Jaffer. They're not content with the husband's means and what he is able to provide in sustaining the family. They want a lot of stuff beyond that based off of things that they may have seen or things that they desire in their heart. And then they start making unrealistic, expectations or thoughts in their mind, and that creates a problem. I've seen this a zillion times and have even experienced it multiple times.
Well, I'll just say this. I just need to ask you a question. Is two things. No, just a statement. I actually did it when my wife was working for a long time. When she worked, I didn't take any money. Okay, it was always my money is our money and her money is her money. That's the way we grew up. That's the way we did it. And I actually wound up spending more money when she was working than when she was at home. I mean, talking about maintenance on cars and gas and just all things. I wound up spending more. So just think about that. But I would say, can a husband, is it reasonable for a husband to depend on his wife to watch the children? Now, I think we know the answer to that. I hope we know the answer to that now. But that question that the lady asked about, well, sometimes she picks up a bill here and there, or this and another, when, she paid the light bill this month, but, he can't depend on that. So her working on her own, if she's not committed to doing that every month, like I'm working, so then I'll take care of all the bills or something like that, then he can't depend on that. But what he could depend on was her watching those kids. Now he can't depend on it. So the husband takes a big L if there's not some hard and fast stipulation on when she's working, if they got kids and family responsibilities inside the house. It's an L. You can't go forward like that without something nailed down.
And I just want to add in, as husbands, you also have to be careful of controlling too much aspects, especially when we're talking about women spending money, because one of the reasons, even though they might spend on something you might not agree with, that might not totally align with the project, they went out and bought 2 dresses or bought a toy or bought swim shorts, and it's like, okay, that's a waste. You also have to weigh in there the benefits you get from giving someone who's following you some autonomy and independence of making the decision. So,
of course. But when it's excessive, it's ridiculous. And then the husband has to step in and try to create some balance. And a lot of times you get hit with the my money is my money, your money is your money. And it's just like, oh my God.
Yeah, and when a husband has that aspect and that outlook as well, is that's your money, do what the hell you want with it, and he doesn't depend on it, he doesn't rely on it, it doesn't affect him whatsoever. Okay, you wasted $1,000 on swim shorts.
But yet that same person is that same person is putting pressure on you to upgrade their living, upgrade this, but they don't have the mentality.
And you're gonna receive that pressure whether they was working or giving you money, buying shorts or not.
Buy these $800 flights to this place or whatever. Why can't you just do it? I know you have the money. You just wasted $1,000. See, that's why I say, that's what I'm telling you. It would be better for everybody if the money went into the husband's account. Yeah, the wife can see what goes in and out. All the money goes in, and then you could.
I think that right there, though, that is actually a key thing. And I like you said that you shouldn't do that if you aren't sharing, if she isn't contributing or whatever. In my opinion, I think that should be done as standard. But it also depends on the individual that you're working, because there's a I don't know if y'all seen the video, but there was one individual talking about how his uncle would come home with his check and just give it to his wife, give it to his aunt, just give him the money. And he's like, "Unc, why you do that? You go to work all those hours and you just give her the check?" And he said, "Yes. I'm not saying you should do this, by the way, but the reason why he was doing it actually made a lot of sense, which talks into about having access and seeing things, because once I started giving her all the money, she stopped asking me for unreasonable stuff. She knows that, okay, there's this bill, there's that bill, I got to pay this and I pay that. And then she realized, like, oh, wait, he actually doesn't have money for us to take that $800 trip to whatever. I'm not saying this is an extreme case. I'm just talking about the concept behind it of like there is a benefit in certain situations by sharing information and giving them involved in certain aspects so they realize like, oh wait, I am being unreasonable here by asking for this because we got to pay for whatever coming up. So, but again, this is not a that
will only work for someone living paycheck to paycheck. If you live in paycheck to paycheck, then yeah, go. That's fine.
It's gone already. Especially nowadays, with auto deductions and auto payments, like it's gone.
Yeah.
You better get it before the power company gets it.
It's a race. It's a race to the bank account.
Yep. Wait. If she's turning over the money, then why say so he can do XYZ with the money? He's spending his resources because it's his obligation. How is it okay for him to oppose her rights over him on her? So she says, wait, if she's turning over her money, then why say so he can do XYZ? So basically saying, why say that she has to give him the money so he could do what he wants with it as far as like the plan and goals and all that? And then she says, it doesn't say he or she, but it's probably she. He's spending his resources because it's his obligation. How is it okay for him to oppose her rights over him?
Yeah, I think she means like to that. So if it is against, like, a man cannot take a woman's money.
Okay.
But he does have the right to her time, and he has the right to for her not to be going here or there if he doesn't want her to. So therefore, she has a right to refuse. Now she can say, well, I don't want to work and I'm not going to work. And I don't think that a man can force her to work unless it's actually a necessity. Like maybe he's got a broken leg and she can actually go down to Dollar General and work the register so they can live or keep their house or something like that. But it's not like he's taking her rights. He's saying, if you want to do this, these are the rules. And so, you know, so we got it there.
Yep. So it's not a right about, it's actually like, as Mark said, it's not, the right isn't about like her access to her money or the husband's access to the money. It's more about, oh, you're actually taking my right.
Mm-hmm.
And here's what's going to happen based off of me giving up this right for you to do something you want to do. That's really how you should frame it. This one's specific for you, Mubarak. They added you at this question. So it says, are you suggesting for men to displease Allah? This is wild, LOL. I don't know.
I think they misunderstood. Listen, no one has to work. Even if she doesn't want to work, she doesn't have to. But if, like Jafar said, if you want to take my right, which my right is for you to be at home and not to let anyone in or out of the house that I don't want you to, and to be ready for me and to take care of my children, to take care of my house, protect my property. If you're going to be outside of the house, you can't do any of those things. You can't do any of these things at work. So what am I getting out of it? So you can be fulfilled? I'm sorry. Listen, maybe I'm a bad person, a bad man, and a bad husband because my number one priority is not you feeling good about being fulfilled while working and not doing the things at home and also keeping the money and still asking me for money. Man, get out of here with that. If you want to take your time away from the things that I want you to do, then the payoff is that. And the thing is, you have to trust me. If you don't trust me that I can take the money and actually benefit, if you don't trust me as a person who's actually spending on the family, I spend all my resources on the family. If you don't trust that, keep your money. But you're gonna when you want something, when you're ready to eat, you're gonna have to pay for it with your time and your effort. Because the reason why I have to, as you said, Allah said, I have to spend on you, I have to take care of you, is because in turn you do something for me. I know y'all don't like it to be transactional, but that's what it is.
I don't like it to be transactional. It's a transactional situation. Point blank. Period. It is. What else is it? What else is it?
That's why the woman has to obey the husband. Is because of even Allah says it because of the spending and what he has to do for them. He's in charge of doing all this. So it's a cost. In return, she's going to be like, whatever you need me to do, I got you. So therefore,
when you talk about transactional, you're talking about exchange of something tangible for something tangible, right? But what's the biggest? I'll ask y'all. You don't have to answer. You can just think about it. What's the biggest benefit you get out of marriage? Is it tangible things or intangible things?
It's intangible things. Now, hold on. That's still transactional because obedience is not a tangible thing.
Yes, it is.
So how is obedience the tangible thing?
I told you to do X, Y, Z. You do X, Y, Z. I told you not to do ABC. You didn't do ABC.
Okay. So, but we know that there are intangibles, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's still a transaction no matter what. You want to get a woman that has the mindset that's going to allow a situation to be successful in your situation. Get a woman that has the mindset that's going to be opposing the direction that you want to go. Remember, you're the leader. So if you want to say use that as an intangible, it's still transactional. It does not matter.
Not how that works, but
I don't want to get lost on this question that it was asked about whether we're disobeying a law or not. It is not that. It's a woman's money is her money. It's her right. If she inherited it, if she had money before she got married or whatever, once the woman decides to go to work, that's different because she has to ask her husband, can I go to work? If the husband stipulates, if you go to work, then this is what you have to do with the money or whatever, she can agree or disagree. No, I'm not going to do that. Okay, you can't work then.
Yeah.
But if she has money, she could have $1 billion that she inherited from her father or that she had before she got married. That money, the husband cannot dictate or stipulate on it unless she's going to do something harmful with it, something like that. He maybe can stop her from spending it, but he can't take it from her. And he can't force her to spend it a certain way, but he can stop her from doing something harmful with it.
Let me ask you this, because this is actually probably what comes up a lot. And we could probably end on this one, unless you guys wanted anything else. But a lot of the situation is you actually have married couple, family, or whatever, where the husband actually can't meet the standards of like basic necessities, provisions, protection, and maintenance and all that, right? And at the same time, the wife okay, well, we need to survive. So she goes and works. But then also that same man will say, well, you got to give me all your money. So like, what do you do in that situation where it's kind of like that gray area where it's like, she didn't really ask to work. She don't want to work. Right. They're not living at the standards that like, even the man will say like, yeah, I'm not taking care of everything. Right. She has to work. Now, does she still have to say, do you still suggest she gives him all of her money, or is she allowed to like, no, I'm working. You have to take care of the kids on these days. I have to work. And also I'm taking some of my money to spend on myself and put away, even though I have to pay some of these bills, but I'm not going to do it all. Like, what about that?
That's a slippery slope. And honestly, I think that the woman has the right. She has the position there to be able to hold some of the money. You know what I mean? It is slippery because if she holds some of this money and she's like, no, you have to do this, watch it, give it a little, that man might be trying. He might be trying his hardest and just not being able to meet that. And then it gets into a situation where it's actually about survival. You might have to get your keister in those trenches and give up 100% of it to make sure that the overall family, the structure of the family and the dynamics there can survive and be sustainable, even to a certain point to where the husband's able to pick himself back up. Because a lot of times men do be trying, and then it's undermined or swept to the side because they're not meeting a certain expectation that the woman might have. Now, if you get below the poverty level and you're not meeting the basic stuff as a man, you got to really pick yourself up. If the woman jumps in the trenches, obviously, jumps her keister in them trenches and she's trying to lift you back up and lift the family, y'all might have 2 or 3 kids, it's an appropriate situation. Even though it's a gray area, it is an appropriate situation depending on how that works. If she funnels 100% in, she might have to do that maybe for 6 months or a year to get the family back up. But the man is the one that's lacking there, and he really needs to pick himself up. But he might be trying his best. So I'll just
what about a situation where like this I don't want to say the word, this brother, if I give him $1, he's gonna blow it. Like, why would I like? He can't. I'm the woman is. You'll have a lot of these situations where the woman's actually more financially literate, financially responsible. She can go make maybe he's meeting the bare minimum, right? She can go make more money than him. Like, I don't know. I don't want to get too angry, but
I've seen that play out. And again, just goes back to selecting correctly and knowing what type of relationship dynamic you have. If you get into a situation and your husband is horrendous with money, and I've seen this firsthand, men be terrible with money. To the woman has to kind of hold on to the finances. She's the one that's being responsible. You got a guy running out, just men do this too. It's common as we're glad it's not that common, but there are certain situations where a man is so irresponsible with money, and the woman is the one who's actually financially sound and literate, and she needs to kind of protect the whole family by keeping certain money from the husband. She might even get certain money coming in, and she won't disclose it to him, because if she discloses it to him, he will then
so in that case, should he give up 100% of his check to her?
He probably should. But I'll say this: if the man is not able to meet the basic needs of the family, and the woman is pitching in and covering those needs, and she has excess, I would say that number one, the woman doesn't have to give him his money, and the man actually, because he's not able to fulfill his part of the bargain, then he loses some of his rights. Actually, if she, he can't say, well, restrict her movement and say, well, you have to stay inside, when if she stays inside, they won't be able to eat or whatever. So also, if he's a man who knows he's not getting the job done, and he's still demanding her to turn over her check, that man has a big ego problem. And there's some issues there that go beyond the money, because he should be grateful. He should be humble, actually, and he should be like, whatever excess you make that's covering for if you covered everything, then he should be happy with that, because he can't even get the job done. Unless there's some other factors, but it just in general, then he should be cool with, like, all right, you got it done. All right, go ahead, sis. You want to.
I got one more question. Quick one, just quick answer. Because I know that people are thinking about this, and this comes up with this talk a lot. What about whatever more modern Western relationship where they're both working and they're both cool with it or whatever, right? They have developed a lifestyle where they actually they need two incomes because of the lifestyle they have established or whatever. But the wife makes significantly more money than the man. Like they're in one of these 50-50 relationships. Like they did split everything 50-50. How do you advise men in those situations that their wife is like, because that's what happens. What do you think?
I was about to say that those marriages usually are not sustainable. They're just simply not sustainable. They usually do not last now. And the reason why is because you said modern. In this modern day and age, there's a mindset that comes with that. Yep. You know what I'm saying? And the mindset is corrosive. It's not going to work. They might last.
I would say if you have a man who's kind of like he's a little I don't want to say beta, but he's cool with it. You got some people that their wives literally boss them around, and they don't mind. They actually kind of like it. I mean, they really don't mind. They're like, yeah, okay, whatever. Yeah, honey, right away, honey, whatever. And they're cool like that.
And these men,
about to call them out.
And these men, hold on, y'all. And these men get what? The women eventually does not respect them. They talk down to the man. They disrespect them. Those type of relationships that you just described, the man will be getting disrespected openly in public. Yeah. And it's a lot of times they do not last. They still end up on the chopping block in divorce. So if they can sustain for maybe 10 years like that. I mean, I've seen this play out so many. Be working in some of these suburban areas, and we would be painting these houses, and we had longtime customers, you know, and the power couples and all this little stuff where and you know, we would be painting their house. They call us back, you know, Jim might call us back 2 years later. He up in the house by himself, or the wife calls us.
Why his name gotta be Jim?
Oh. You know,
take notes.
or the wife calls us back, you know, hey Alan, or hey, you know, whatever, can you come paint my house? And we come there. We now remember we've established a relationship, so we know the kids and all that stuff. He's like, hey, where's you know, Julia? She's with her dad. Like, oh, okay, like. And we've seen this happen so many times where it looked good on the surface, but when we talk to the man and the woman is actually bossing the man around. She jumps in front of the man, deals with the financial transaction in terms of what we have to do. You know, sometimes we'll hear her talking down on him, and he just be, oh yeah, you know, happy wife, happy life, you know, all this stuff. And years later, they're cooked. You know, his own house and.
Look, the best way, if you want just in general advice, if you want a successful marriage, the closer you can get to traditional roles, natural instinct, how Allah created us to be, the closer you can get to that, the better your relationship is going to be. So even if you like, there's of course going to be some finagling and some strategizing and some manipulating and different things to try to, because everybody's going to come with our faults. But even if you're married to the modern Western woman and all that, which most of the guys listen to are going to get married to, unfortunately, the closer you can get to that setup where you're the provider, you're the maintainer, and that's all you rely on is your what you're doing. You're going to be in a wife being a stay at home or having the option to stay at home and not relying on her to do X, Y, Z. The happier both of you are going to be. Even though problems will arise, we're all going to default back. Like they say, tigers don't lose their stripes. We're going to always default back to whatever it is. So, you know, try to aim for that the best you can.
And I'll just say this. I know we got to close up, so I'm gonna throw this grenade and then bounce. Basically, if you might think that the stipulations that I propose will not work for a modern Western woman, but I will say that if you're thinking that, you're wrong, because just think, what is a sugar mama? What are they? What do they do? And if you think about that, sugar mama, and if you think about how some women, just for their Western women, and just because they want a certain type of man, or a certain man in particular, they basically work, give him the money, let him ride around in his car, and they're the side chick. So there are some Western women. Now you might say, well, look at what they look like or whatever. But I'm just saying, depending on your ability, that what I've had proposed is not far off. And I can tell you that I personally know that I can get a Western woman, someone born somewhere around here, to do that. Will it be easy? No, but you can do it. So don't keep hope alive, guys.
There's a theory that one of my I won't say who he is. There's a theory that one of my companions, I would say, had, that there's a correlation between how grateful a woman is and how high her weight is. So maybe we could do a peer-reviewed study. All right, y'all. Thank you for joining us. We know it was long, but a lot of people tuned in. We appreciate it. Watch it back later. We're gonna clip it up for you guys. We hope you guys can benefit from it, and join us again next Sunday. All right. Assalamu alaikum.
All right. Well, oh boy, that was intense. Oh, shoot.